ABC Sport.
We begin this broadcast by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which this match will be played today and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening.
Boy, we're going to have some fun.
The AFL in 2026 on ABC Sport.
When the siren sounds. Here we go. Listen to the roar. It is showtime.
You take a seat because it don't get better than this.
Right to the goal line. Big ball! Jamie Elliott, the man who gravity forgot.
That's why we love AFL football.
On ABC Sport, this is the AFL.
Sit back, relax, witness the greatest. It don't get better than this.
From 45 and rides it all the way home.
An ambitious effort. Unbelievable.
The left foot is a goal. Oh, yeah.
Take a seat because it don't get better than this.
Throws it, kicks on goal. The prancing pony.
What a goal.
He's off and running. The 45 to get the party started.
Take a seat because it don't get better than this.
It's bouncing, it's through. Bailey Smith, he'll want the cameras on him right now.
That camera action, baby. Countdown, contact.
Spins around and buries it.
Loads up from 55. That's a monster bomb.
40 metres out, snaps towards goal. What a beautiful finish.
Bacon goal square, goes for glory.
He eyes the goals and sends it home.
Don't get better than this.
100% pure footy. Every minute of every match, all season long.
Gathers, snaps, goal.
It's just football at its best.
Take a seat because it don't get better than this.
Kick on goal, dribbles it through. What about that? Took them all on and said, I'll have some of this.
Bailey pinches his pocket and bang, bang, bang. That's the price you pay against the Premier.
Watson snaps. Oh, Watson puts it through. And the Wizard arrives precisely on time. He's built for the big stage. On his left boot, his kick is good.
AFL.
Inside 50, off a step, turns and goes bang. And snap. And goal. There's the bravery through the middle of the ground.
How good is that? What a goal! He wastes no time. He whacks it through for another. It doesn't have to be your night, but it can be your moment. Hands it to Charlie Cameron. He can walk it in. Show him your tail lights, Charlie.
Welcome to ABC Sports coverage of the 2026 AFL Premiership season.
Runs the 50 out. What a way to finish.
Take a seat because it don't get better than this.
On radio
ABC Sport Digital Radio.
and ABC Listen.
You take a seat because it don't get better than this.
For 80-odd years, this was an inner-city rivalry in Melbourne. For the last 40 years, it has represented the national game and mirrored the eternal debate in Australia's two biggest cities, Sydney or Melbourne. Which is better? Today, there's another debate as well. Gawn or Grundy? A ruck-off at the SCG. You've got to be careful as you roll that out, just very careful with a ruck-off. But welcome inside the picturesque Sydney Cricket Ground. No late change for either of these two sides. Ben Cameron in position to call all of the action. Ryan O'Keefe, the Norm Smith medalist, and Joel Patfull, the 200 gamer, along for the ride, as is Daniel Garb. As always, here in Sydney. Garby, great to see you.
Good afternoon, Benny. Good afternoon to everyone. A lovely Sunday in Sydney for this one. For the most dangerous team in the competition right now, in the Sydney Swans, up against a surprise packet of 2026. No one expected the D's to be up where they are at the moment. Stephen King's made a huge impact, but today they get probably their toughest test of the season. So we look forward to seeing how they respond on Brodie Grundy's 250th game.
Melbourne have made the 3:15 slot on Sunday afternoons their own. When they've played in that slot at the MCG this year, they've won. When they've played away from that slot, not at the MCG, they've lost. 5-2. It breaks down perfectly so far in season 2026. Great to have Ryan O'Keefe, the Norm Smith medalist, back in 2012, joining us as he so often is here in Sydney. Rock, always a pleasure to come up to Sydney and see you.
Yeah, it's great. And look, I'm really excited about this game. I think it's going to be a really good battle and probably closer than maybe what some people might think. But to the ruck battle to start with, I think this is going to be Yeah, this is going to be a ding-dong one battle, I think, and both ruckmen are terrific. Brodie was arguably the premier ruckman at one stage, and obviously Max has been dominant for so long. To your second question, Sydney's a better city, mate. Quite easy. I've lived in both. I grew up in one, and now I live here. Much better.
Okay. I'm sure we'll hear from people on the SMS line over the course of the afternoon about Sydney versus Melbourne. Coffee better in Melbourne, perhaps. Joel Patfull, we've got some cool guys working on the ABC sport coverage. Cool Jules, our technician in Melbourne, but Joel Patfull might have him covered. Great to see you, the former Lion and Giant and 200 gamer. What are you looking forward to this afternoon?
Good to see you too. Thanks for having me. Mate, I'm looking forward to the key forward matchups and the backs, who Melbourne have got to match with Charlie Curnow and the big Sydney forwards. Joel Armadi up there has been really dominant this first half of the year as well. So some big key matchups. Obviously that Swans midfield as well. What have Melbourne got to match them in that department? They've got a few young guys in. Jack Steele as well, the new recruit's been going well. So him going head-to-head with that Sydney midfield's one to watch for me.
Yeah, it's going to be very enthralling throughout the afternoon. The Gawn and Grundy matchup. I mean, it's incredible when you look at the fact that they were teammates once upon a time, 14 games together in 2023. Melbourne actually won more than they lost when they did play together, so 8 wins from 14 games. When they've gone head-to-head, and I know it's hard to judge this given it's a team game. They're one of 22 or 23 depending on when they've met. 11 times they've come up against one another. Grundy's teams have won 7 of those matches. So generally his teams have got up and he's been singing the song. But what is it going to look like this afternoon, Joel and Ryan, when they do go heads up, do you think? Who gets the better of that battle?
Well, it is going to be a great battle, but I think to Joel's point, it's the midfield battle that we know the clearances here. You can get direct to top of this goal square and get deep entries, which is the best way to score on this ground. So I think that ruck battle is going to be. I think they'll nullify each other because they're both really good around the ground. They are slightly different. I think probably Brodie's a bit more of a scrambler and follow up and that absolute workhorse. I just sort of think it's going to be that they'll sort of nullify each other. But yeah, like the midfield battle, like Cozzy Pickett and Steele for Melbourne, are been in great form. So how do they with Isaac coming back in? How does that battle go? That's going to be probably, I see how it determines the outcome of this game.
It's going to be good to watch, isn't it? I mean, especially on the SCG when it's such a small ground, there'll be a lot of clearances and a lot of stoppages, and both ruckmen are going to be so important for both teams. I think for me, it's how they get used around the ground. Both guys have been getting 20 plus possessions and really getting involved defensively. So if Grundy can get forward and kick a goal or two, I think that's going to be really important. And Gawn on the other side as well, how he can be used when he goes forward.
Gawn continues to amaze, of course, in the most incredible way. I mean, clinches a 9th All-Australian Blazer this season. Then he's out on his own. That'd be the record. It's easy to forget, though, when the Swans got Grundy, it was to fill a massive hole in pursuit of a premiership. And I think we've forgotten that because of all the chat around Charlie Curnow. They needed Curnow in order to be the final piece in that puzzle. But before that, it was Grundy. They had a bit of a void in the ruck. They needed that premier ruckman to help out the star-studded midfield. And if they do go all the way, and obviously it's a massive if, but they're obviously in contention, that's something worth remembering, that Grundy was just a huge acquisition at the time to fill out this midfield, which obviously has so much talent.
Oh, yeah, it was the recruit. It's one of the recruits over the last few years, and you have to take that, your hats off to the Sydney list management, coaching staff to be able to get Grundy and now Curnow and build around what they've developed within. So I think that's always been the philosophy of the Swans. They draft talent and then trade for position and be really strategic that way, and they've done that really well. And obviously with what the club's done over many, many years being here and created an environment that players want to come to. And so to be able to land arguably, 2 massive recruits, it's a testament to the club.
Well, I think you forget about how good Grundy was as well. I mean, because of what happened when he left Collingwood and then obviously had the year at Melbourne, and it didn't work out for him. So he kind of came to Sydney as almost like a free hit. It was like, if he plays well, it's good. If he doesn't, it's, it was worth the chance. But, I mean, he's a 2-time All-Australian at Collingwood, All-Australian again last year, like absolute superstar of the game. And it's been good to see him turn around his career. As, like you say, Ryan, as so many guys do when they come up to Sydney, they've got the system in place where they can bring those guys through and really get the best out of them.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but there's nobody I like beating more than the people I know best. So I'm sure that this will have extra meaning for both of them, and they will want to put in a good showing today. It is game 250 for Brodie Grundy as well. So 177 games and 2 All-Australian Blazers at Collingwood. Then he played 17 in that 2023 season at Melbourne, 14 of those games with Max Gawn, as we mentioned, and then 56 and counting here at Sydney. So Gawn, an 8-time All-Australian, like we've spoken about. It was 18 and 19 that they were both in the All-Australian team together. So the selectors thought they could play together. I know it's a fictional team, but interesting to note that they were in there together when Grundy went in on both occasions. One man who knows the duo exceptionally well is Simon Goodwin, the former Melbourne coach, now a director of coaching at Sydney, and he is downstairs with Declan Byrne.
Yeah, I'm down here with assistant coach for the Swans, Simon Goodwin. Swans v Demons, massive game for the club, also for you. How did you sleep last night?
Yeah, no worries. Obviously, it's a different day for me. Obviously, come up against the old team, but obviously, it's all about the Swans and how we go about our footy, and hopefully we can put on a really good performance.
We've talked about how being an assistant coach is different this year. It's felt different. Do you get nervous, especially on games like this? But do you feel it around now and in the night leading into it?
No, not really. Not as a coach. Even when you're, as a senior coach, it wasn't something that was really at the forefront of the mind. I think it's really about making sure the detail has been planned and everything's sort of meticulously prepared. And then obviously you're going, for a coach, you're going through scenarios. What happens if this happens in the game? What happens if that happens? And you can make sure you've got the levers ready to go to change the look of the game. So for a coach, it's sort of like that real preparation to make sure the details are all prepared.
Tom McCartan's just walked past us with a knee brace on. Massive loss for the team. What do you make of that, and how are you going to be able to cover his huge presence?
Yeah, look, it's a lateral ligament, so, he's in that brace for, I think, another maybe day or two, just to really stiffen it up, and he'll be back in a couple of weeks. So, he's a big loss for us. He's been outstanding in the back half of the ground. So, we bring Lewis Melican back into the team, and obviously Will Edwards last week was really strong for us. So, it'll be a different looking back six without Tom. He's been one of the real generals back there, but it's, we're pretty confident the guys that we've got down there.
Throw it upstairs to Ben Cameron, Daniel Garb and Ryan O'Keefe.
Simon, good to speak to you again. It's all about the ruck-off today, and you've got to be careful saying that. But Gawn versus Grundy. Under you in 2023, they played 14 games together, 8 wins, 6 losses. They've played against each other 11 times, and Grundy actually owns their head-to-head 7-4. Where can Brodie Grundy get him today?
Yeah, look, they're different types of ruckmen. Obviously seen them compete a lot at training for that 12 months as well. But, Brodie's an elite follow-up ruckman. He gets in and around the scramble post the hit out. So that's one of his advantages that he has over Max, whereas Max is probably a bit more of an aerial player. So they're completely different in their rucks. They're both elite at their ruck craft, about their hit out to advantage and how they get the ball into the team's favour around the stoppage, but they are different in general play. One's a great scrambler, great pressure player, great tackler, great ball winner. The other one's just an amazing aerial player.
Okay, Simon, you've been given a lot of credit for the work and the impact you've had at the Swans since joining. Just wondering, what was the thing that you pinpointed, that you saw when you came over here, that you thought you could have an impact on, or that you thought needed a little bit of rectifying?
I think when you look at the Swans list, they've got an enormous amount of weapons that can play in a whole variety of positions, and it was really about how do we set up our way of playing to get those guys in the game as often as we can. And you're talking about Heaney, Warner, Goulden, Blakey, these type of players, and obviously with Kerno coming in, how can we function in a way? And the other thing that really grabbed my attention was this group can really run. They're great with ball in hand, they make good decisions, but they're elite with their running. So how can we develop a style that really tests the opposition with our speed? And that was really evident early on in pre-season, the quality of the players and the talent that's available, but also the ability to run.
Yeah, Goody. I just wanted to touch on the coaching dynamic. Obviously, there's yourself, Spike, and Cox, all being head coaches, plus you got experience at Benny Matthews, Amon. How is such an experienced sort of coaching dynamic? How does that go? Is it trying to work out who's got their role and all that sort of stuff? Because it's quite interesting, such a senior, probably the most senior coaching dynamic or coaching group in the comp.
Yeah, obviously Cox has been really clear with the way that he wants to play, and I think one thing when you've got experienced coaching group is that you can ride the ups and downs, the emotion of win-loss or bad quarters and that type of thing. So It's really about, for us, is we've all got roles to play, and I think with the experience, you know how important that role is to the senior coach. So our ability just to do what we need to do for Coxie and establish that, but also not ride the ups and downs of the AFL season. You're going to have times in a season where you're not performing, and it's how do we create change to get us back to where we want to get to. And I think having that experience brings great balance and probably takes a little bit of the emotion out of the building.
And I don't want to go on the Sydney versus Melbourne sort of debate of living here, but how have you found? I know you've spent a fair bit of time over this in Sydney. How have you found sort of AFL in this city compared to obviously the heartland of Melbourne?
Yeah, look, it is different. It's obviously being a non-traditional AFL city. Just to come up and be exposed to that. Obviously living in the probably a really football cultural city of Melbourne, but then moving up here is different. They love their footy, and the players when they come to the club are right into their footy. But just the balance of life away from the game is as important, not only for the players but the supporters are unreal that come to the game. I think we're going for another 40,000 today, and I think we've had 40,000 nearly every time we've played here. They come and they want to be entertained, and that's what we want to do to them.
Just going back to Gawn and Grundy, I'm so excited for this today, Simon. But ironically, with 5 on the bench now, we're seeing more teams play the 2 rucks. Were you guys ahead of your time in 2023? Do you think it might have worked with them together with 5 on the bench?
Definitely would have worked with 5 on the bench. There's no doubt about that. You got 2 premier ruckmen that you can work over the opposition with. At the time, we had obviously come off of Max Gawn and Luke Jackson, and we wanted to really give that combination with Brodie an opportunity to work. And, I think it was pretty evident, in the middle of the year that it probably wasn't going to be the case. And it was, we only could play the 1 ruck. And that was really mature conversation with Brodie. And, he was unbelievable through that period. And, at the end of the year, it was really about how do we get you where you want to go. You're an elite player in this competition, and as a club at Melbourne, we were prepared to move him to where he wanted to go. And Sydney was just a great match for him. So we get back together, and it's we've got a really good relationship together.
Yeah, it's good karma for you. You get to work with him again because you helped him get to Sydney. Just on Brodie, I was on the boundary for a game the other week in Melbourne, and looking at him up close, he looked lean, like he looked like Ryan O'Keefe or a greyhound. Has he changed his physique to deal with the new ruck rules for 2026?
Yeah, he has, and that's the thing about Brodie. He's a total professional. I think a few years ago he realised that this is a running game, and it was probably the bit that was holding him back a little bit was the capacity aerobically to really go with the best ruckman in the competition and continue to do it week after week. And he really leaned up. He spent a lot of time on his aerobic conditioning and really evolving that. And he's so diligent and wanting to be the best he can be that he just embraced that 18 months ago. And you can see now the way he plays, he actually gets around the ground incredibly well.
Quick one to finish, Simon. Cozzy Pickett, does James Jordan get the job on him? Is that pretty straightforward?
It's not as straightforward as that. It's they've got some guys who are in some really, really good form. Clearly, Cozzy's someone that we're going to have to really watch carefully. But they've got a lot of other threats out there, so I'm sure we'll work it out come game time.
Best of luck. Enjoy the day, Simon. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Simon Goodwin, who certainly knows these 2 rucks very, very well. Max Gawn and Brodie Grundy. It is the headline affair as we work our way through this afternoon. 0437 774 774 if you wish to text in throughout the afternoon.
Just on that last question I asked him about Cozzy Pickett, the tag will be interesting. James Jordan is obviously the tagger for Sydney, but you do wonder if Pickett's pace is a question mark for the Sydney coaching staff. Can Jordan go with him when Pickett gets a bit of clear ground, Ryan O'Keefe? That could be an interesting decision for them.
Yeah, it's different though. James is sort of suited to a sort of more that inside mid. Yeah, Cozzy's got some serious weapons. That do you look at it, or do you just try and maybe restrict some of his attack in the back half and maybe just make sure he's not damaging more towards goal? But yeah, it'd be interesting. Otherwise, yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe a Wicks could go. Maybe Wicks might get that job on him. He's got some speed. So yeah, it'll be interesting how that plays out. The other one, Jordan might go to a steal. So, I think it's going to be that might be a better matchup for him, and maybe a Wicks to Cozzy Pickett.
The Wicks matchup is a nice physical match, if you will, in terms of physical attributes. I like that suggestion.
I don't mind it. I think they've definitely got the speed to go with him. It's just if he gets him up the ground, whether Wicks is he smart enough to work out around a stoppage and work through that situation as well. So regardless, I think you have to have someone at least, paying attention to him and keeping an eye on him. I think Jordan will probably go to him early and try and keep him in tight in the stoppage, be physical around the stoppage. Once he gets outside that stoppage is where it's going to be difficult for both teams. But, I mean, if you've got a Wicks who's playing off half-back and he knows Cossey's going to be coming through as well, you can keep an eye on him and try and pick him up on the way through. So there's a few different ways you can go about it. Yeah,
Mick Malthouse, the coaching games record holder, is big on the fact that, look, if you try and run through the stoppage with Cossey, he's too quick and too smart, he'll lose you on the way through, that you almost have to net him on the other side.
Yep, totally.
We'd speak about sort of D1 and D2 and the zones, which is getting a little complicated, but sort of the outer part of the stoppage and how you can net him on the attacking side of it. Is that a good assessment?
Yeah, that's what I'd do. And that's probably how you'd set up. You'd go, if he's going to go up into the stoppage and just cut through, let our own midfielders go to work inside, and then we'd set up, catch him on the way through like a secondary sweeper.
How did you guys go with ruckman and their intelligence levels when you were playing? Because it's been a story as old as time that people are very derogatory, really, about ruckman and their intelligence. But we've got two senior coaches, Stephen King and Dean Cox, that were both ruckmen, coaching here today.
Well, I had a bit of a think about this because I knew we were going to talk about this, but I have to agree. It's probably something that's at all footy clubs. They talk about the ruckman and not being the smartest bloke in the team. But, I mean, I think they have that personality where they're easygoing, they're laid back, they're approachable, they can talk to anyone in the team. And I think, especially more these days, more than anything, you need that coach who is relatable and he can talk to the youngest guy on the team, he can talk to the oldest guy on the team, and he can make them feel good about themselves. I think players, especially these days, are not responding to the coach that's super hard on them and that's, smashing them every single week, and they're spraying them. They want to feel good about themselves. They want to be upbeat. They want to be positive. So I think they're bringing the best out of players, and especially probably those younger players coming through as well.
Yeah, they don't have small man syndrome, so, they're quite relaxed about it. They cruise around. Look, it's quite interesting. And I'd arguably say the two, we're talking about the Grundy, Gawn, they're quite highly intelligent guys as well. They love, good to chat and all that sort of stuff. So it'd be interesting. Yeah, I've had a mixed bag of rucks I've played with. Some highly intelligent, some not so much.
They're both having really good years, Stephen King and Dean Cox. I mean, there was a question mark on Dean Cox in terms of could he take the Swans up to being a premiership contender after last season, where they had so many injuries. Everyone just sort of held off and said, all right, well, let's see how they go this year. Okay, there's been no discussion about him because the Swans are flying, and Stephen King's been the success story of the season, to the point where we don't really talk about the D's rebuilding or being a contender. Everyone's just happy to see how it goes now. They've got young talent and they're moving in the right direction. That rebuild discussion around the D's has been put to one side because they're going so well under the new coach, and let's just ride the wave for now and worry about the rest a little bit later on.
Well, I think a first year of a coach is almost, it's like that probation. Just let it be, or be what it is. You start judging them after the second and third year. Just say, okay, now you've had 12 months to, list management, get a game style in. How are the players going to react to you? It's all lovely, and everyone's playing with no shackles on us, and everyone's happy, and it's all good. But then I think the blowtorch goes on in year 2 and 3, and that's when what pressure does to a coach, and are they going to be, all this about relationship and the players feel comfortable, and, when everyone starts going, okay, why aren't we winning?
As Andrew McWalter's finding out right now.
You're hot on this, aren't you, Garby? Well, Stephen King was a part of the process for the West Coast Eagles gig. You're an Eagles man at heart, and you're just questioning whether they got that right.
It's a big talking point right now. I mean, yesterday's game, there was always going to be a fallout. You would have given Adam Uze some respite because of their horrific injury list, but that's not a game the Eagles could afford to lose. A week after they got done by 100 points against St Kilda when scores were pretty close at half-time. So that tells you that there is still a mental issue in this West Coast side. They've been broken for 5 years, and those heavy losses have mounted to the point where there seems to be a lack of belief in the playing group. So then you go, okay, well, they need a culture changer as a head coach. Someone has to come in there and clearly reset the minds of this playing group, make them believe again, steel them up again. Early on, we thought they're back on track because of those good wins over North and Port Adelaide, but they've fallen into a hole again. And yes, Eagles fans are questioning right now whether Andrew McWalter is the man to take them forward. That doesn't mean that there's a they're going to be picketing outside club headquarters tomorrow saying he has to be sacked. But the question mark is there in a very big way. Final year of his contract next season. Clubs don't always like going into that territory because it causes so much controversy and discussion and it becomes a distraction. So I think it is something to watch very closely from this point on. And I don't think he's got a lot of time to convince people because he steps into the final year next season. So it is a fair talking point, I feel.
I'll defend him. I feel like the list he got is so different to what Stephen King got. Like he got a basket case of a list at the West Coast Eagles when he came in, and it does take a little while.
That's fair, but they lost to a Richmond side yesterday that had 27 players to choose from at home.
All of that is hard to argue with. I'd agree with that.
But
that's where it does get...
The secret to good coaching is good players.
Correct.
And
absolutely.
And it's just, if you got the cattle, then it makes it a lot easier. And that's the point. Like, Melbourne have got some good players. They've got a good mix of senior and young. And I think that's the critical thing when teams look at, we're going to do rebuild. They just get rid of all the older players, all the experience and whatever, we're to build up. And these young players have got no one to learn off. And it's not just learning out in the field. It's all the little things during the week and preparation and experience is so.
Ross Lyon speaks about the bull elephants. You need some bull elephants to teach the other elephants how to do it.
And this has been a bit of a bugbear of me, particularly in our game. You see in other sports not so much, is that as soon as players start getting to 30, they're getting old, we're going to move them on. It's absolutely rubbish. Like, you can see, players... Look at Pendlebury, for example. He's still having best on grounds, and the experience that they bring, not just out in the field, but during the week, is just so valuable. You can't buy that stuff.
For sure. Just on the McWalter thing, I'm not saying he should be sacked. I'm saying it's a question and something worth monitoring. And they are so broken, West Coast, right now in terms of their mentality. You only have to look at the team in front of us right now, Melbourne, who were in that position 10, 12 years ago, and they brought in Paul Roos for one reason and one reason only. Just change the culture. 2 years' time, we'll bring in Simon Goodwin or someone else, and we'll worry about it then. But we need these players to look at the game and themselves in a different way. It feels like West Coast might need that now to get back on track. Hopefully Andrew McWalter's that man. But I think a lot of Eagles fans are concerned right now that he might not be, and it's something to watch as the season goes on.
I agree with that, and I think it goes with what Ryan was saying as well. If you lose those older players, you need a senior coach who's strong and got a strong presence who can set those standards. So if he's not that player, if he's not that coach, you probably need to look for someone who can come in and be that person to all these younger guys who are playing underneath them. So set the standards.
Or do they need to look at, like when the foundation club, the Suns came in and the Giants came in, we need to find some older players to be player coaches. Hodgie did it in Brisbane. Brisbane fell down. Hodgie and they've got a few of those older guys that come in. Yeah. And it's look at the team that's built now.
Well, they would feel like they've done that with Liam Baker and Jack Graham, but whether they've got everything they need to.
And they've still got Yo and Cripps and Kelly, and they're not as young as people think. And some of those young players are super talented. So. Yeah, the last month has been hugely disappointing for them.
They have won 2 games this year, which, you're exactly right. They'd lost 19 consecutive quarters to half-time yesterday, which is a club record. So that's a lot of footy to be losing consecutive quarters. I was really concerned when I heard Andrew McWalter say pre-season, hopefully the percentage improves this year. I thought that's not someone who's expecting to win an awful lot of games, but they have won a couple. So that will be a watch as Daniel Garb has put on the agenda. A text has come in from Bucky. He says, Ruckman not the smartest blokes in the team. 2 words. Riley O'Brien. He's probably the smartest player in the AFL.
Yeah, old Rob. He's studying to be a doctor. He's a very smart cookie, old Rob.
And this one, no name, no pack drill, says Ruckman. Mike Fitzpatrick was a Rhodes Scholar. So there are some smart ruckmen. You're exactly right. I'm just saying, generally, it's been accepted and promulgated that the ruckmen aren't the sharpest tools in the shed.
Well, my experience would be book smarts and street smarts. Sometimes they're two very different things. So maybe we'll put it down to that.
You know, Rob, is he book smart?
He's very book smart.
Is he street smart?
Questionable.
Yeah. I think after he accidentally posted his game notes about Nick Naitanui off his phone. That suggests that maybe he's not the most street smart. That was the original whiteboard scandal, wasn't it?
It was the original whiteboard. And poor Rob, I'm not going to throw him under the bus. There's probably a few other things he did. You shook your head at. But anyway.
The best is on the doco when he tried to explain it. He's, I tried to send a message to my friend and then my phone froze and he tried to get around it and was like, come on.
Nick actually after the game gave him a phone.
He did.
That was a great story.
He did. Time for us to jump inside the Melbourne camp. It's been a big week at Melbourne. The CEO, Paul Guerra, sensationally sacked. They parted ways during the week, Melbourne and Paul Guerra. Let's go inside their camp with Troy Chaplin. He's downstairs with Declan Byrne.
Thanks, Benny. I'm down here on the boundary with assistant coach for the Demons, Troy Chaplin. Troy, sometimes with a new coach, a new system, it takes a while. Are you surprised at just how quickly the team has adapted and the performances and the results have shown up?
I'm surprised in terms of the result. I think there was a lot of uncertainty and how long it would take for the new system to evolve and kick in. But throughout the course of pre-season, you saw glimpses where it's like, geez, there's something about this group. To be 5-2, though, I don't think anyone would have picked us. We've won some good games against Gold Coast, Brisbane, who are right in the premiership hunt. So we've been going pretty well, but we've got a pretty good test today. We're coming up against a side on their home deck who are playing some pretty bloody good footy.
So what was it in pre-season? You've been around footy for yonks. What was it that sparked something for you that thought, OK, this could happen quick and these guys are learning fast?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me was the way we've played previously. We were a contest defence-heavy team, so probably we always questioned as the game was evolving, did we have the guys with the work rate to be able to cover the ground? And we changed a lot of our training. We did a lot of transition running, a lot of transition drills. So you start to see that, maybe our view of our playing list and the capacity to cover the ground wasn't quite right because of our training and the way we played previously. So you started to get a bit of a feel for, these boys can cover the ground and can run. So we've been in games and been able to run over the top of teams late, so it's sort of started to be a bit of the proof in the pudding there. So we're happy with how we're going, but we've said all along to our group as well that we're not a finished product. We're just going to keep evolving and learn across the course of the season. So we get another opportunity today.
You talk about overrunning teams. The MCG's been good to you this year. You're undefeated. What did you change this week? Because the SCG, very different dimensions. Does it suit your style or what do you have to adapt?
Look, we're a go-forward team, same as what Sydney are, so you can get the ball inside 50 really quickly here, especially from centre bounce or if you get the ball through the corridor. But it is a very wide ground. So, look, for us, nothing changes too much, but we'll probably look to attack the goals a little bit more, and that's where I think you can really do some damage here. So, yeah, it's easy to come in with a plan, but we're coming up against a team who we really respect and who are playing some really damaging footy on both sides of the ball at the moment.
I'll throw it upstairs to the team in the box, Ben Cameron, Daniel Garb and Ryan O'Keefe.
Chappie, great to speak to you. So much fascination around Gawn versus Grundy. We're talking about it ad nauseum. Max could become the first 9-time All-Australian this year. How excited is he for the battle against his former teammate?
Yeah, look, it's incredible when you put it into that context. Like 9 All-Australians, if he's good enough to get another blazer, it's going to be amazing. At 34, his preparation and the way he trains throughout pre-season, he doesn't miss a beat. He hates being managed. He just wants to keep doing it. And obviously coming up against Brodie, who's in some really good form this year, and they know each other really well as competitors, but also teammates as well. So we're looking forward to it. Brodie's had a fantastic season along with Max, so it's going to be a real battle in there today. And look, that's where a lot of the game's going to be won or losses through the midfield. So it's going to be a real challenge for Maxi, but he's looking forward to it.
As are we. Troy, you spoke about your style and the way which you played this season, but you come up against arguably the most damaging team in the competition on their day. So do you tinker with anything today? Do you try and sit off a little bit, suffocate them, maybe hit them on the counter-attack? Is there some sort of plan we can expect to see in that regard?
Oh, look, I don't want to give too much away, but look, there is. We're going to have to make a few adjustments just purely because of how they move the ball. Look, they love going through the corridor, from D50 through the corridor. They're number one in the comp. Probably our biggest opportunity is that they haven't faced much pressure. So for us, it's like, can we put them under pressure, force them into some turnovers, and as you said, counteract the other way? But it's easy to say that. They're going pretty bloody well. So their forward handball and the way they're using their numbers through the middle of the ground, the way they get it into their good players' hands, that's going to be a real challenge for us, but our boys are up for it.
So the forward handball is the big one. They're the biggest metres gained by a handball team through 7 rounds that we've ever seen in the competition. Defensively, how can you stop that? Is that come forward pressure. What does that look like so that us sitting up here know that it's working for Melbourne?
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of the come forward pressure and the chase from behind. But I think what our boys have got to be mindful of is as they're doing these handball chains, you just can't try and intercept the ball. You've actually got to take a body. You can't let Nick, Blakey and Isaac, Warner, Papley as well, if he's running through there, McInerney get 1-2. So we need to make sure that our physical pressure, our ability to come forward on that handball, and as I said, our small forwards chasing from behind, if we get that and we start to turn the ball over through the middle of the ground, I think that's when you know that our defence is on.
Yeah, Chabby, I'm going to go back to the mindset of the team, and you sort of mentioned, like, probably, besides your team within your own walls had, really high expectations, but probably the outside footy community didn't. Does that sort of free up the mind of the players to go, hey, let's just go for it, let's just be confident, let's take the game on and not worry about, losing or trying to make mistakes? Has that been a positive spin on it for them? Yeah,
without a doubt, and I think that's one of the things when you have change, it brings some excitement and it refreshes everyone. So we've seen that. Kingy's a different coach to Goody, and Goody was a great coach as well. He had his philosophy. Kingy's is slightly different. I think just hearing that new voice and a new way to play, that's what's excited the boys a little bit. Now, we've got to be able to sustain it across the course of the year. We've got a lot of young kids in our team. We know who are going to have some ups and downs, so we know we're going to face some challenges, but without a doubt they're playing with some freedom at the moment.
I'm sure it's probably not that much of an issue for the players, but a disruptive week off the field for the Melbourne Footy Club. Paul Guerra ousted as the CEO. How did you isolate the players from any drama this week to make sure they're ready to go?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. No one saw it coming, and the board have made a decision, and so be it. We don't really know or get into the details of that. We're just worried about footy and competing. So for our players, it hasn't been too big of an issue. I think more maybe because we're separated as a club with our business side and footy side, maybe the business side were affected a little bit more because he was there a lot more. But from our guys, we're ready to go. They're ready to get into it. It's been a big week for the club, but from the playing group, they've moved on and they're looking forward to the challenge today.
Troy, best of luck. Appreciate your time.
No, I appreciate it, guys. Have a great call.
Troy Chaplin, one of the assistant coaches at Melbourne, chatting to us pre-game here at the SCG at Melbourne in Sydney, not too far away. I like this text that came through while we were chatting to Troy Chaplin. I know this is a joke. It's not actually from him, but it says, Ruckman, what about Minson? Regards, Rodney E. Of course, the famous audio. Get him off. The get him off. And I think it was Leon Cameron who was famously in that audio saying, Rodney, Rocket, we can't hear. We can't hear Rocket. We can't think. You would have had Leon at GWS, wouldn't you, Joel?
Yeah, I did. Funnily enough, he kind of turned into Rocket by the end of it as well. I've heard him pretty similar in the box.
Well, you model your coaching tree, don't you?
Well,
so
exactly.
He ended up like Rocket after all of that. Let's hone in on this game. So Sydney and Melbourne. Sydney's forward handball has, it's hard to not say, revolutionised the competition this year with what they've been doing. It's fascinating because Tom McCartan said that, or he attributed a lot of those changes to Simon Goodwin. Now, part of the issues for Goodwin at Melbourne was that he couldn't change their stodgy ball movement, which was always kick mark, get it on the wing, look around, kick long to a contest in the pocket, get it out of bounds. It never evolved from that, seemingly, for Goodwin at Melbourne.
I think too, like, the difference is Goody took over the game style from Paul Roos. Now, Roosy, obviously, he was brought to Melbourne, and his big philosophy was contest, make it a one-on-one, and his ball movement, even like he took out when he was coaching us, was very stagnant, and it wasn't until when John took over it sort of freed up, made it move a bit. So
that is fascinating.
So Goody was building off that.
Yep.
Now he's come here where they had quite an attacking brand of footy, so he's sort of been able to work with something that the players have already had built into them. So that could be the difference. The point that Chaplin made about Sydney, and I'm still questionable about this forward handball and the over handball. I think when the pressure comes and it gets finals footy, that can falter because it can cause a lot of turnovers. Teams that will come in and press and put forward pressure on will cough it up. So I'm still the jury's out with me of this forward handball. I don't know if it's going to stand up to finals.
It's a different game, isn't it? I tend to agree with that. But I mean, talking about that ball movement as well, I think he's been a little bit kind to Goodwin there, because the ball movement's been there for a while. So you've got Warner, Heaney, Goulden, Blakey off of half-back. That 2024 year when the Swans won 12 in a row, that ball movement was as good as you'll ever see under John Longmire. So it's always been there. They've had the players in place, and I think he's come in and just put a little bit of extra on top, and maybe the forward handball has attributed to that a little bit. But I think the nucleus of that team's been there for a few years, and now they're really gelling together.
It certainly has, and you look at guys like even Dane Rampy, who unfortunately has played in 4 losing grand finals, came in just after the 2012 triumph, which Ryan O'Keefe starred in with that Norm Smith medal, 2014, 2016, 2022 and 2024. That is a rough run. I mean, if Sydney were to go all the way, you'd be pretty happy to see Dane Rampy up there on the dais at the end of the grand final. Melbourne's way of playing has changed. We've spoken about it, obviously, with Simon Goodwin, and fascinating insight that he was sort of carrying on what Paul Roos would have had instilled at Melbourne. But we had Max Gawn post-game a couple of weeks ago, and he basically said that Stephen King says to them, do whatever you want when you've got the ball basically on offense. So there's some team principles that we'd like you to follow, that ideally, if you've got it on a back flank, we'd like you to go here. But broadly, play offensive football. You know how to play. How do you feel about hearing that?
Oh, look, that was a little bit of Don Pike's sort of attacking philosophy too when he was coaching at Adelaide. It's about, just play the best option. You see it, hit it, whatever you think. Which, it can work. And for the talented players, probably, like Cozzy and that, they've got this instinct they can play. But I think when the game gets down to we'll talk about, this is all building up to play finals. And you want to build a finals winning team. When you're under pressure and things go, you need to be able to sometimes as a player when the heat's on, don't really need to think and go, oh, we're doing this.
Muscle memory.
Yeah, but bang, we're just going out here, we're just doing this. We can default to that if we have to. Those talented players can fit within that system and move the ball, and they'll change the game that way. But for a lot of you, meat and potato players, you just need to go, tell me what to do, I'll just do it, and I'm really good at playing my role.
100% agree with that. I think big games, you need a structure that you can fall back onto when the pressure's on. When you're under, not every player, like you say, is a Cozzy Pickett that's going to hit the 20-metre kick inside and get the handball receive and kick it inside out through the middle. Like, some players need that structure. They need to know if they're under the pump, they can kick it long down the line. If they're, we want to switch the footy, when it comes in this side, we go out the other side. I think you need some baselines in place so when the pressure comes, you can resort back to that and find your way through it.
And also your forward structure, your forward movement. As a forward, you want to have some predictability of how the ball's coming in. If it's going sort of all over the place or where we're going to go now, it can make it really hard for leading patterns and working with each other there. So I think you need some sort of structure.
Well, he might have been being a little loose with the truth, Max. I'm sure there's more to it.
Doesn't want to give it away too much.
Well, I think his point as much as anything was that you're not going to get yelled at if you go for the infield 45, even if you Max Gawn the 209-centimetre ruckman. So,
as I said before, Ben, it's first year, everything's good. It's all good.
Honeymoon.
Beers and Skittles, it's all good. Let's see what happens next year for that.
The other thing is that everyone's best option is, like you say, is completely different. So, I mean, a tall ruckman, like you say, probably just wants to kick it long down the line, but someone else in the back pocket, they're going to go for the aggressive kick, and game time, positioning, there's so many different things that come into consideration when you're choosing that best option.
The thoughts of Ryan O'Keefe and also Joel Patfull here on Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. Between the benches is Declan Byrne for us this afternoon. Deck, come in.
G'day, team. Yeah, it is a ripping day down here. The only thing I'm just trying to work out is the wind. So it's about 23 degrees. The gusts are coming through, and it says on the app it's from the northeast, and the flags above the members stand are blowing one way. So I think that could be something the teams will have to deal with early. The kids are in as well. It's the earliest game we've had so far this year. So lots of youngsters around me, and both teams with the black armbands on after the tragic Alice Springs passing of Kumajai Little Baby. So both teams honouring that really sad passing throughout the week.
Good on you, Declan. Both teams just in a huddle as there's a little bit of a late arriving crowd here at the SCG, probably around about 70% full as we get ready to go.
This is pretty good for this time. Usually they're a bit, they come in a bit later than this. I reckon we're going to see a really nice crowd today.
Yeah, that would be good. It's a very Sunday afternoon activity.
Well, the Sydney Junior AFL plays Sunday, so that a lot of people have played their games and rush over to get to the game.
Which way are we tipping? You can go first, Rock.
Oh, look, it's hard to go past the Swans. I think it's going to be a lot closer than what maybe it looks like on paper, but yeah, I just think the Swans, I think they're Heaney coming back in, and I think Grundy's going to try and make a point.
Yeah, I agree with that. Swans, but a close game, couple of goals. I can't see Melbourne kicking a big enough score to get themselves over the line today.
Seems to be a reasonable prediction. It's the age-old debate in Australia, Melbourne or Sydney. We settle it today on the footy field, and it's Gawn versus Grundy. Our very own footy debate. You're with Daniel Garb.
A gorgeous Sunday in Sydney, and Grundy in game 250 on his knees. Couldn't get hands to the football. The D's go forward first. Hands to Latrell Pickett. Darts around a couple. Handball over the top looking for Langford. Coming out to mid it is Melican back in the side. Got the handball away, and then Wicks with the clearing kick from defensive 50. Underneath it is Roses. Heaney back in the team as well for Sydney. Taps it in front of himself. McInerney keeps it in. Having a fantastic season. And then retreats to Rampy. He moves it forward to Sarong. His kick up towards the contest. Turner did well, opposed to Curnow. Got his body in front. Heaney, well tackled by Sparrow. And the D's can win it at half-back.
Langdon wants to give it away to Tolstrup. Can't gather the first time. Papley comes to him. Tolstrup gets it. Handball away. Van Rooyen stripped of it in the tackle. Jordan picks it up for Sydney. Handball to Warner. Rushes a kick. Back central. Blakey from 55. Likes the look but misses right. Slightly offline. First score of the day goes the way of Sydney. They're one behind. Melbourne yet to score. We've played 64 seconds Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
And James Jordan has gone to Cozzy Pickett. So that's something worth watching. And Cozzy burning with his speed. As the D's go straight down the corridor, but they've turned it over. Dangerous kick straight to Callum Mills in the middle of the SCG. The Mills will send it back inside, attacking 50. Underneath it is Petty. Good contest from Amadi. And then Petty with the second effort wraps up the on-rushing Tom Papley. We'll have a ball up in attack for the Swans. 20 out from their goals.
It's a good sign there from Amadi, out of position and be able to just make a contest and bring it to ground.
Grundy taps it down, but Cozzy Pickett gathers at fullback. He'll clear, exits the defensive 50, up towards Van Rooyen. Lots of it, and he'll get a free kick. Had a rocks or diamonds kind of year, Van Rooyen, as he gives it off to Cozzy Pickett. He releases Fritsch with a handball. Kicks inside 50. Myercheck moves Melican and marks. 40 out, slight angle to the right. And Brody Myercheck has booted a goal in every game as a Demon so far. He'll try to continue that here.
He's been a great addition to the team, hasn't he? Sort of another one of those more experienced players that they've brought in. It's been probably the player that's hasn't been spoken about much, but has been great impact.
One of 14 players in the comp that have kicked a goal in every game this year. Brody Myercheck, his drop punt, he's missing left. Just slightly across the face, a minor score apiece, 2.5 minutes into this one. Ben Cameron, Daniel Garb, Ryan O'Keefe, Joel Patfull and Declan Byrne bringing you the action.
Blakey to the left back pocket for Rampy. It's not his best kick. It bounces in front of Lever and then just evades him a little bit. Well done by Howes to gather it. And now back to Lever. Wheels around and then goes back the other way. Good smother by Lloyd. Lever invited the pressure, but gets another chance at it. The kick up to half forward. Latrell Pickett with the lead. Couldn't bring it down. It would have been something very special. Here's Myercheck. Into Sparrow. The SCG regains its breath after that. And now Latrell Pickett has marked it. He'll kick from 35. Tight angle to the right. But he got up very high and almost brought down a ripper.
That is huge.
He would have just taken Mark of the Year off his cousin Cozzy.
Yeah, but Myercheck, he was going to get it. Myercheck snatched him out. He's cost him the absolute car. What's this? He's got it. He's turned around to grab it.
Oh, he would have caught it too.
He would have caught that. Oh.
That'll be a talking point. But more importantly for Latrell right now, can he kick the first of the game? He's taking a mark. 5 metres closer from where he almost took one of the greats of all time. It's hit the post. It's a behind. What a way to start this one at the SCG. 2 behinds for the D's. Sydney 1 behind. We've gone 4 minutes. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
have been slow starters this year, Melbourne. They've only won one opening term this season. Blakey brings it in short to Justin McInerney, and will bring it out very wide and find Melican. So Melican, 80 from home, wants to go back inside the defensive arc and finds Callum Mills. Very short back and sides that McInerney is rolling with at the moment. Visited the barber during the week as Mills completes the switch to Rampy. And now Wicks pokes it over the top, and Warner working down the O'Reilly stand wing.
Weave gathers at Warner, and that's a good spoil on him by Blake Howes. So we'll have a throw in underneath the Bill O'Reilly stand. One of the great sights here at the SCG when that's close to capacity. The sun is shining.
First look at the Melbourne defence there as well. Zoned well, made the Swans go around the outside, reposition and stopping on the outer wing.
And the two greats wrestle, Grundy and Gawn. Picked up by Fritsch off the ruck contest. Handball forward. Falls the way of Chandler. He's got some space. Gets onto his left. Kicks to a one-on-one. Van Rooyen couldn't take the grab. Good second effort by Myercheck. Closed on Melican. Tackled him strongly. And now we'll have a throw-in left forward pocket for the D's, who have come to play here at the SCG early doors.
They definitely have. They're looking very dangerous at stoppage. It's not the rucks that's doing it. It's the ground level, as we spoke about early pre-show, Joel. It's this midfield player. They're quite dynamic at the feet.
Gawn and Grundy. Gawn to the front. Flicks it to the back. Windsor gathers. Now he loses the footy as he hits the deck, and Blakey picks it up. Handball to Rampy. Swans in their D50. Wicks with a kick towards the defensive arc. And the mark taken by Lloyd. Has a runner out wide in Roberts. Finds him now, and Sydney away down that O'Reilly wing.
He's got some support in Rampy. Handballs forward to him. Rampy inside 50. Amati all on his own. He's taken the mark. Got out the back. And he'll slow things down. Happy to take a set shot. Joel Amati will probably strike this from just inside 50, tight angle to the left.
Well, that's the one. It's the forward handball that got Rampy through the zone, and then he was able to penetrate, get it over the top of Petty, who was playing that 10 metres in front of Amati. So it's always dangerous as a defender playing 10, 15 metres in front. If that zone breaks down in front, you are susceptible out the back, as we see so often.
16 goals for the season. Joel Amati having a very good campaign. Charlie Curno's arrival has benefited him. This is across the face, though, and missing everything out of bounds on the full. So it remains 2 behinds to the D's, 1 behind to Sydney, and we've gone 7 minutes in the first term here at the SCG Sunday Footy ABC Sport.
How do you miss everything from there on a perfect day as a forward? That just staggers me.
Anthony Nquimbian is perfectly situated to debate Melbourne and Sydney as the exiting kick goes out towards halfback. Rowbottom drops the mark. Mills sweeps a handball back inside 50 for Sydney. Tolstrup for Melbourne. On to Turner to Windsor. Clear and kick. Loose footy again. It hits the deck. Chandler trying to get after it. Manages to flick out a handball. And now Latrell Pickett is running away with it. Went the handball to himself, and Blakey pinches it on the wing. Sydney back in possession.
Blakey too smart. Read that well. Goes inboard to Rowbottom. Gets around cross and kicks nicely to Theron, who found some space at half forward. The quick handball to Wicks. Chips one over the top. Roses will take the mark. And he'll fancy himself from the pocket. We've got Max Gawn on the mark. And he'll kick from about 30. Hemmed up on the boundary line, Malcolm Roses.
The dangerous signs when you're doing a zone of defence against the Swans is they'll hit these kicks and they're finding free targets everywhere, and then they get their run and forward handball off the back of these free kick mark chains.
Lots of shots from tight angles early in this one as we search for the first of the game. Roses runs around on his left, draws it back superbly. Never looked like missing. Salutes the SCG crowd. And we have the first of the game. Malcolm Roses, who is perhaps, easily the less heralded of the acquisitions in the Sydney forward line, is maybe proving to be a shrewd one. The Swans 1-1-7, D's 2 behinds.
He's been great. I mean, I think he's been dangerous up forward, but he also gives a bit of that forward pressure and a bit of excitement as well at ground level, which they've probably missed over the last 12 months. But agree with that. With the Melbourne zone, they've got to be careful once they get broken down, leaving that option out over the top. So what's happening is Turner's out the back on Curnow, and he's playing deep and he's staying with him. So it gives that space in between because he's not coming forward to take that next option. So you've either got to commit to the zone or play a bit more man-on-man and try and close that space a bit.
But the Swans are happy because you watch them. As soon as they win the ball, they make the ground big. They use the full width of the SCG, and they're happy to go around. They just take their time.
Grundy wins the tap in the middle. Down for McInerney. Handballs it back to him. Grundy hacks it off the deck. Inside 50. Petty attacks it. Wins it for Melbourne. Handball away to House, who gets rid of it to Lever. Kicks out wide, and Fritsch marks on the back flank for the D's. Kicks up to Cozzy. Cozzy wants to play on. Tight ropes the boundary line. Chips it short to Lever, who's run on. He'll kick long inside 50. Up they go. Punched away by Melican. And a throw-in coming. Right forward pocket here for the D's, attacking the city end of the ground in this opening term. Anthony Nquimbian says Melbourne first played at the SCG in 1904. 76 years before the Swans. Take his word for it, up.
Okay.
Unaware of that.
Good stat. Boundary throw in forward 50 for the D's. Grundy punches it away. Over the boundary line it goes. We'll have another throw in just outside 50 now. So Swans 1-1-7. Melbourne 2 behinds. Inside 50s, almost level. 6 to Sydney, 5 to Melbourne. So an even start to this one. Gawn and Grundy jostle once more, side by side. Grundy gets in front, palms it down. Latrell Pickett's there, and then Grundy gives him the don't argue. Falls over though and gives it back to Gawn. Well done by Sparrow. Fought off a tackler. Ball in dispute in the forward pocket for the D's. Socket off the ground, picked up by Mills. Gives it to Edwards in his second game. Swans under pressure now. Jordan well tackled by Harry Sharp, and the D's lock it up inside forward 50.
That was a critical ball take there by Jordan. If he fumbled that, they were all over at Melbourne.
Sydney by 5 points. Ball up inside 50 here for the D's. Gawn slaps it to the outside. Bouncing ball. Edwards there with Van Rooyen. The latter wins it. Off to Sharp, who can swivel and snap and hit the woodwork. Second time Melbourne have hit that post. 3 behinds for the Demons. Sydney 1-1-7, nearly 11 travelled opening term.
Nick Blakey surveying his options. Now saunters away from the defensive goal square. A couple of bounces. Just pokes one forward. Barely the 15 to Sheldrick. Takes the mark. Quick handball on to Blakey, who kept moving. Now to Melican. Another handball for the Swans to Roberts on the wing. He wants to go by hand as well, but he's turned it over. Petty's in front of Lloyd and gathered it. Got the hands free to Fritsch. Gets on that lovely left boot and kicks it up to centre half forward. Van Rooyen flute. Edwards took a good mark. He impressed on debut, and that's a nice moment for him in his second game. Hands it off to Mills. Now they switch it to Wicks. He'll move it forward to Sarong just behind the wing for the Swans.
Sarong, a forward handball. Jordan, nice pick up. Sweeps it forward to Rowbottom. Forward of halfway now. Sydney kick out wide, too wide. Roses was waiting, but beyond the boundary line, so Langdon, free kick. Declan Byrne.
Injury news for Melbourne Demons. Brody Mychek is straight down to the rooms with the physio. I'll keep you updated.
Well, that is bad news as Langdon kicks around the wing. And a good grab going up late from Max Heath. Former Saint puts his boot through it. Sends the D's into the attacking pocket. Up they go. Hands to it. No mark. Chandler roves the pack. Gets rid of it to Van Rooyen. He can snap. Hemmed up against the boundary line. What a finish. The big man with little man skills. And Melbourne take the lead. 1-3-9 plays 1-1-7. We've played 12 and a half minutes opening term. Ryan O'Keefe and Joel Paffel.
Wow, that's as good as you see, won't it?
That's a great finish.
Snap from the big man from the boundary, but they deserve to get a goal there, Melbourne. They've been multiple inside 50s, hit the post a couple of times. And that's the one you need when you're the away team and you've had a bit of momentum. You need the goal, settle the team down, get yourself into the game, and they're right on, aren't they?
And the Swans have made a few bad turnovers, and it's good to see Melbourne now have made them punish for a couple of turns. Like Rowbottom, when he actually should have given that forward handball, he's done a kick, kicked it out. But yeah, Melbourne's pressure is good, and you know, we heard Troy Chaplin before the game talking about that they feel that no one's really tested, put pressure on Sydney, and that's what they want to do.
Great goal, Van Rooyen. A steal, middle of the ground is a 360, back to Polstrup. He guides it forward to centre half forward. Jefferson well tackled by Sarong. The D's cheer squad love that from Van Rooyen. There's a banner in there that says, "My heart beats true" for number 2. She was up waving that proudly after that superb finish from the D's spearhead. Knocked away in the ruck contest by Logan McDonald. And now Billy Cootie in his second game. Sockers it forward a couple of times into open space. Coming out to meet it is Curnow and Turner. Turner wins the battle. They're under pressure though, the D's. Swans win it back. Here's Roses on his left. Kicks across attacking 50. Good defensive work down there by Cross, and then the second effort. But Sydney have won it back. Amadi by hand to Roses, who's been really busy, darting around and then again finding a teammate. Well done, Roses. Superb vision. It's a tough ask for Rowbottom from here. He'll kick from outside 50, tight angle. And Malcolm Roses is busy inside 50 for Sydney.
He has been, but they're forcing him wide, the Demons, aren't they? They're 3 shots now from not the boundary line, but just the inside. And, you know, they're keeping that corridor nice and congested so they can't get an easy shot at goal.
This is perhaps not James Rowbottom's goat.
No chance.
He is one of the better tacklers in the competition. Always in the top 3 to 5. And he says, no, I'm not going to have a shot. I'm going to kick towards the pocket, looking for Curnow. His opponent, Turner, lost that in the sun, I think. And then Charlie did as well when he tried to mark it. So off his hands, we'll have a throw in right forward pocket for Sydney.
This is an opportunity for Charlie to put a good game, and everyone's sort of spoken about his, you know, kicked a few, but against a good opposition. Let's see what he can do.
Second rucks in there, McDonald and Heath. Heath brings it to the front. Tolstrup with no room to work.
He still looks a little bit down on confidence or whatever, doesn't he? Like, he's not attacking the footy and taking it at the highest point.
Heath hooks it away towards Langford. Bounces off the Warner tackle, gets rid of it. And a clearing kick from Paddy Cross up towards halfback. Now going up. Howes, he can't take it cleanly. Ball hits the deck. Roses sweating on it again. Swats it away to Blakey. Centre half forward for Sydney. A bullet onto the chest of Amadi. He's an exquisite kick. And Amadi ends up with it 30 out, as good as directly in front.
He's got to kick this as key forwards, and it's probably been one of the things that Sydney's key forwards, when they've got gettable goals, or this should be an absolute put down, they've been missing it. So this is something they've got to build on their game to make sure they capitalise on their good work.
Just deflates the whole team, doesn't it? When these are missed, Joel Amadi puts his laces through it from 40 and celebrates the moment it leaves the boot. Sydney snatch back the lead. 2-1-13 plays 1-3-9. The Swans by 4 points, 16 minutes in. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Well, that's where Amadi's been dangerous as well. So Blakey's got the ball outside 50. Everyone probably looks to Curnow. How can we block the space for Curnow? Amadi's good enough to get on the lead, and he's coming through that zone as well and attracting the attention of the ball carriers. So that's where he's been great. Curnow's almost anchoring himself in the goal square, waiting for the long kick. And Amadi's drawing the ball as he runs through the zone. So opportunities are going to open up like that through him throughout the day.
And Nick Blakey's been very busy early, so he's one the D's are going to have to watch, because he's getting a lot of drive and run already.
I was just going to say that. 8 disposals, 2 inside 50s, 3 score involvements for Blakey. He won the Kirk Ward medal a few weeks ago here. The Giants couldn't get on top of him. That's a concern for Melbourne early on. 4 points the Swans lead by. Midway point of the first term, and Warner doesn't like that call. He caught Max Heath high, plays on quickly, running away towards 50 is Windsor, just inside 50, goes for goal and slams it home. Well, the D's take advantage of the free kick. Lax checking from the Swans perhaps, and Caleb Windsor strolled through the middle of the SCG and slammed it home from 49 metres out. Down to Declan Byrne on the boundary.
Huge news for Melbourne. So it wasn't good signs when the physio who went down with Brody Myercheck came back without Myercheck. It's been confirmed that he is out of the game. So 10 minutes into the first quarter, Brody Myercheck out with a hamstring injury. Will take no further part.
These get the lead back, but that's a hammer blow. Brody Myercheck out of the game.
That's huge, because as I said, he's been a great contributor so far this year, and have one of those key focal points up there, which now sort of they have to shuffle the decks, don't they?
Mentioned he was one of 14 players that had kicked a goal in every game they'd played this year. He hasn't kicked a goal in this game, and he's not coming back, so that streak is about to end.
Had a shot though early.
He did. McInerney, the others at ground level, feeds it out to Heaney, kicks inside 50, bouncing ball in the pocket. There's a free kick, and it will go the way of Sydney. Logan McDonald will be the recipient. I think Harrison Petty the offending party, and McDonald on a 45-degree angle will go back from 45 metres out.
Another score from centre bounce clearance. So obviously D's got one last one, but this one again, Heaney with a lovely kick to advantage, and Logan McDonald, it's good to see him back playing some consistent footy.
We've already had 4 lead changes in this game. Logan McDonald goalless last week. For the second time this year as well. He won't be goalless today. He slots it. a 5th lead change of this opening term. It's swinging on every goal. 3-1-19 plays 2-3-15. Nearing time on opening term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Well, it shows how important those centre bounce clearances are as well. I mean, Heaney coming out the side of the stoppage. It was a one-on-one inside 50 and didn't really need to do too much. The Melbourne defender, the ball was probably going to carry over the back, but under pressure, put the arm over the shoulder and give the free kick away. So, especially on the small ground here, one kick and you're deep inside 50. So, they're going to have their work cut out from the Melbourne defenders. But good to see Logan McDonald. Like you said, he's been up and down and in and out of the team probably for the last 18 months, hasn't he? So,
yeah, injuries. He's missed a lot of footy, so it can take a little while to get that consistency in. So hopefully an early goal pumps his confidence up.
The voices of Brian O'Keefe and Joel Patfull. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Swans back in front by 4 points. Time on now in the first term. The D's win another free kick in the middle of the ground through Max Heath. Just sends a high one inside 50. Gawn is resting deep in attack off the hands of Jefferson. Gawn might be able to crumb one here. He does. The big ruckman with the Rovers goal. Oh, he's done it all in the game, but you don't see that too often from Max Gawn. Getting that massive frame down low in the forward pocket and snapping one to give the D's back the lead. 3-3-21. The Swans 3-1-19 and Brodie Grundy's 250th. It's Max Gawn who strikes first.
Well, he's probably going to have to, with Mychek gone now, he's probably going to have to spend a bit more time forward when he's resting rather than come off. Maybe that's how they're going to deal with that. But that's some great skills there by the big man. But looks like, is that...
might be Cozzy Pickett.
Is that
Latrell Pickett. He's in a bit of trouble down there.
What's he done? Can't see.
Oh, what's happened here? Is this in the celebration that he's hurt himself?
It's certainly not in the act of Max Gawn kicking the goal. And Latrell Pickett is down and very sore. I know he ran past Brodie Grundy and went to let him know that Gawn had kicked the goal, and I think he got clipped on the way through.
Oh,
a little bump from Brodie Grundy.
Doesn't look like there's much in it, but he's obviously struggling at touch.
He's all right.
He should be okay.
So the leaders swung on every goal. We've gone goal for goal with 3 to each team. There's actually one thing Max Gawn hasn't done in the game too.
What's that?
Darby hasn't taken a bounce yet. As the tap from Heath out of the middle is beautiful for Windsor, kicks in the Gawn direction. Edwards punches it away, bounces towards the boundary line, and Sharp carries it out. He said to us too that he wants to keep that record, so he intends to get through his career and never take a bounce.
Big job there by young Edwards. Second game he's on Max Gawn, who's playing deep, so that's going to be a big challenge for the young fella.
He's by 2 points, 22-minute mark of the first term. Ball socket just outside attacking 50 for Melbourne. Kept in play, Latrell Pickett with a fancy handball over the shoulder. Roberts goes to ground but gets the handball back to Wicks. They clear the area of the Swans. There's a whistle on the play though. It'll be a free kick to Roberts. So it'll go back inside defensive 50. Left half back for Sydney. Beautiful afternoon in the Harbour City. SCG nicely filled. Plenty of D's fans here as well. And their team has arrived and come to play for them early. Nice flyer, Marty on the wing. Now it's Cross who gathers it. Back in attack it goes for Melbourne, but Roberts, unchecked, takes the defensive grab and they can work off half-back the Swans.
Heaney's kick nearly chopped off there by Cozzy Pickett, and they still sweat on it, Melbourne. Langdon comes up with it, hurries a kick inside 50, dropping the mark there, unfortunately. Bice goes to follow up. A whistle somewhere on the play. And it will be a Melbourne free kick. Harry Sharp is going to end up with it.
I think it was a block, was it, in the marking contest?
Oh, I don't know.
It's getting a little bit like that sometimes, unfortunately, where the whistle goes and we're a little bit like rugby union. No one knows exactly what for. It was a little block there from Sarong.
Oh, like, really? Anyway.
Trying to make Melbourne the first team with back-to-back majors in the game. Sharp's drop punt is straight through the middle. A sweet finish. And Melbourne, they lead by 8 points. 4-3-27 plays 3-1-19. 22 minutes played opening term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Again, they came off a turnover from Sydney. It's one of those things. If you can make them pay and put the pressure on, there's chances and opportunities to score against this Sydney team.
Definitely. I was just thinking then that how nice the start of this game had been. There hadn't been too many free kicks. Umpires were letting the play go. No, touchy free kicks, and then you do one like that. You're better off just letting it go on you. If it's not an obvious free kick, just let it go. Let the play go. Keep the game rolling.
Like Ray Chamberlain said to us, he works with us on our Saturday team, if it's not a hell yeah, it's absolutely a no.
Agreed.
Which I think, not a bad way of putting it from Ray.
He's up by 8 points, 24 minutes gone in the first term. They've lost Brody Mychek, though, to a hamstring injury. They win it out of the middle through Jack Steele, and it lands on the chest of Sharp, who can go for 2 goals in the space of 30 seconds here.
If I was Swans midfield coach at the moment, the D's midfielders are all over him at the moment. I think they're just getting way too much clearance and easy ball out of it. They're definitely on top, the D's mids.
So Harry Sharp, from almost the exact same position as his last goal, 30 seconds ago, 55 out. He's got another. And he wheels away in delight. The SCG silenced. All of a sudden, it's a 14-point gap to Melbourne off the back of 2 Harry Sharp majors in the space of a minute. And there was a quick kick out of the middle from Jack Steele on his chest, goes back, threads it. The D's with a super start here at the SCG.
Well, 6-2 centre clearance, and they're actually damaging as well. That one wasn't so much out the front of the stoppage, but they're penetrating the inside 50 out of that centre clearance. And interesting enough, Max Gawn's not in there. He's deep, so it's a younger ruckman that are getting to work. Jack Steele, Cozzy Pickett, and young Windsor as well has been good inside the centre clearance and getting a ball inside 50.
Well, it's 11-5. Like clearances, they said the rucks said they probably nullify each other and can be maybe a little bit overrated what they do up in the air. It's the ground level players that are absolutely making the difference here.
Grundy follows up his tap here, gets it moving forward for Sydney, picked up, and then the kick quickly inside 50 from Cootie into the pocket for the Swans. No one gathers it cleanly, Amati or Turner, and in the end it's out of play. Just on Harry Sharp, holds the record for the 2K time trial at the Combine. 5 minutes 23.
Yeah, he was touted as like Olympic level runner. He's from St Pat's Ballarat too, I think.
It's freakish. Like, give me a kilometre head start and it's a ding-dong battle, I reckon, over the 2Ks with Harry Sharp as Cozzy Pickett wheels away with the footy and finds cousin Latrell at centre-half back here for the D's.
Latrell wants to get it going quickly. Melbourne up by 14 points. They'll have to move it laterally. That is pretty dangerous. It'll evade everyone. Howe's kept it in. Good work by him. Over the top to Cross. Handball game from the D's is slick. Now Cozzy's got it on the wing. Little inside ball to Fritsch. Bounces in front of him. Picked up nicely by Fritsch. Cross did well to evade the McInerney tackle. And then kick inside 50. Bounces away from Rampy. Good pressure from Sharp after his 2 goals. But the Swans have won it at half-back. Jordan clears the area. That's a really good kick under pressure to spot Amati on a lead. He wheels away inside 50 to Curnow in a one-on-one with Turner. Turner's done really well on Curnow early. Won that contest too and palmed it away to Lever.
He moves it out wide to Langford. Rising wingman, this man. Has it on neutral territory. Kicks around the wing. Misses Van Rooyen. Tumbles out. Throw in. Lasso, last touch, free kick going to Sydney.
Curnow without a touch so far, so Turnow's done really well early.
Yeah, but that kick was horrible to Curnow. Like, Curnow had all the space. He's put it out in front and lead onto it. He's kicked it on his head.
Melbourne by 14 points. Edwards kicks around the wing. Amati hands to it, then gathers at ground level. Handball errant turnover. Langdon pinches it. Amati gets a hand in again. Goes back and gathers for Sydney, then turns it over with the handball. Langford can't quite gather it. Slips through his fingers out of play. Melbourne by 14 points, closing in on quarter time. I did bump into Harry Sharp's dad in the change rooms. His parents, lovely people. I said, gee, he's a good runner. He said, yeah, it's no good if you run to where the footy ain't. He'd had a quiet day, which just honest feedback from your dad. You can always count on it.
Totally.
Can't you? Here's Warner. It's inside 50. Kicks to a dangerous spot. Curnow and Turner jostling again. Roses with a wonderful snap goal. He brought that onto his boot in a flash off the hands of Charlie, and Malcolm Roses has his second of the first term. The Swans needed that to bring the margin back to 8 points, and that was some quick thinking and sharp skills.
It could be one of those days for the small forwards can capitalise. Those beautiful conditions to Crum, and Roses, he's been very, very busy, and he's very, very dangerous. So it's good signs that they've been able to still kick goals and score without the key forwards really taking too many inside 50 marks.
Yeah, right. And then Curnow did his job. Then he got the ball to ground. He was probably slightly out of position. Once again, the ball was put on his head a little bit, and sometimes that's all you can ask for from your key forwards. Makes the contest. Melbourne defenders probably a little bit slack at ground level there, weren't they? You just got to, especially someone as dangerous as Roses, you know it's going to be a contest that's coming down. You got to lock in on ground level and close that gap, not give them any space.
Ends a run of 3 consecutive goals for Melbourne. First multiple goal kicker for Sydney. And a good pick up from the Gold Coast Suns. Grundy brings it to ground level again. McInerney burrows in, wins it. Handball to Heaney, to Grundy, out the front door. Kicks to full forward. Curnow and Turner. Curnow, lots of it. Doesn't quite mark it. And Petty comes to help and rushes it through. That is what Sydney can do, but the lead, 7 points the way of the Demons. 3 minutes to play of game time in this first term.
Bit of an old school full forward, full back battle at the moment. Turner and Curnow. He's taking him really deep. Inside 50.
It's almost the old school one-on-one matchup, isn't it? So you'd like to think that Curnow could get the better of him. He's a 40-game player, and Curnow's obviously, Coleman medalist. You like to see him throw him around a bit and have a jump at the footy.
Turner winning so far as Jath sends it up to the wing. Rampy with the big fly and the punch over the boundary line in front of the Swans bench. Down to Declan Byrne.
Chad Warner will feel better. He bumped Tolstrup before, who went to ground, went into the hands of the trainers, has come off, but isn't under any injury, head injury assessment. So you elect to bump, you put yourself in danger, but all good for the D's defender, Colstrup.
Thanks, Deck. D's by 7 points. Late stages of the first term. Heaney gang tackled by a couple of D's. A little bit quiet so far in the first quarter, Isaac Heaney. Just the 4 possessions, 2 kicks, 2 handballs. Grundy and Gawn wrestle away. Here's Sarong. Can't get the handball free. Sharp guides it forward. Heaney well tackled by Gawn, and McInerney tries to move it to a teammate, but the D's can gather this in the middle of the ground. They turn it over. Here's Blakey. Darts around what would have been a tackler. Looking for Papley. And Melbourne has it at half-back now.
They work it out through hands. Here's Jath going on a little slalom run. Now he kicks long inside 50. Van Rooyen attacking it. Bravely, Melican stands under the drop. Takes the mark defensively for Sydney. Moves it out to Boss. Boss can run off the back flank. Forward handball. Away to Sarong. Past the centre line. Handball infield to Grundy. Flicks it on to Heaney. Heaney looks with a kick inside 50, and that is perfection. Never above head height. Right onto the chest of Amati. 45 out. Slightly right of centre.
Lovely finish. Beautiful touch. But Sparrow's given a lot of physical attention to Heaney. And he's not getting much help from the... Talking about before not paying many free kicks, Joel, but he's getting absolutely manhandled off the ball. There's so many free kicks that need to be paid, and I think when you get taggers like that, if you pay one early, they stop all that harassing.
Joel Amati into a little canter from right on 50. He's got a couple. And Sydney are clawing their way back into this contest. It's the smallest possible margin. Melbourne 5-3-33. They lead Sydney 5-2-32. 32 travelled opening terms. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Yeah, it was a good change of direction. I mean, Melbourne have been good at keeping the Swans wide outside the corridor, but it was Heaney coming back through the middle, opened up the ground and hit Amati on the lead, who once again was leading through that zone and drawing the ball into him. So he's been the one that's been dangerous inside 50. He's getting on the move and he's attracting the ball forward. So he's obviously reaping the benefits of the Melbourne zone that's almost dropping back a little bit on Curnow.
Well, what he's doing really well, Amati, he's up and about in his movement, and his defender can't get set because he's up, getting back around him. That's where I would like to see Curnow maybe spend some time and swap and go up, and not to get his deep forward sort of wrestle. Get up and use your mobility.
Amati and Roses with 2 apiece for the Swans. McInerney overruns it in the middle of the ground. Pickett got the handball forward. Another kick to centre half forward, falls in the lap of Bailey Laurie for Melbourne. Chisels one, looking for the lead of Van Rooyen. Bounce off his chest. Jefferson's there. Got hands to it. In fact, it's Langford. Clever handball over the top to Laurie. Pickett regathers it. Gets around. Mills. Snap on the right. Cozzy Pickett. Almost a sensational goal, but they've hit the post again. And the D's are up by 2 points. The third time they've hit that post. But after Latrell Pickett almost took mark of the year, Cozzy, with what would have been a sensational goal, denied by the woodwork.
The Pickets bring you through the turnstiles, don't they?
They're awesome.
So much fun. Blakey with the kick into the pocket, and Mills. He goes to the opposite pocket. Finds Riley Bice. So he sets off for a gallop. Takes a couple of bounces. Corralled by Van Rooyen. Leaps the handball in the end. Away to Edwards. Windsor gets him. Caught. Holding the ball, and Melbourne come away with it. Langford kicks inside 50. Look out, Mills. Very brave. Van Rooyen going back. And Mills ends up with it. Defensively for Sydney, that was very nearly very bad.
Yeah, Van Rooyen's okay, but that was one of those scary ones that make you hold your breath. Thankfully, no head-on collision. Good start from Melbourne, though. They've come to Sydney and they've taken the lead at quarter time. 5-4-34. The Swans 5-2-32. It's Roses and Amati with 2 for Sydney. McDonald with the other. And Harry Sharp's 2 goals within a minute gave the D's the ascendancy in the first term. Singles from Windsor, Gawn and Van Rooyen. The big news, though, Brody Myercheck out of the game with a hamstring injury. The D's very happy with their start in Sydney.
So the goal kickers, 2 to Amati, 2 to Roses, 1 to Logan McDonald, 2 to Sharp, singles to Gawn, Windsor and Van Rooyen. Melbourne leading by 2 points. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
How do we collect things? And how much is too much? Join me, Annabelle Crabb, as I venture into the secret stacks of the State Library of New South Wales and discover that most of the collection isn't books at all. Search for the History or Hoarding podcast on ABC Listen.
This is the 2026 AFL Premiership season with ABC Sport.
Lots of shots from tight angles early in this one as we search for the first of the game. Roses runs around on his left, draws it back superbly. Never looked like missing. And we have the first of the game.
Max Heath puts his boot through it, sends the D's into the attacking pocket. Up they go, hands to it, no mark. Chandler roves the pack, gets rid of it to Van Rooyen. He can snap, hemmed up against the boundary line. What a finish. Roses sweating on it again, swats it away to Blakey, centre half forward for Sydney. A bullet onto the chest of Amati. Is an exquisite kick. Joel Amati puts his laces through it from 40 and celebrates the moment it leaves the boot. Sydney snatched back the lead.
Huge news for Melbourne. So it wasn't good signs when the physio who went down with Brody Myercheck came back without Myercheck. It's been confirmed that he is out of the game. So 10 minutes into the first quarter, Brody Myercheck out with a hamstring injury.
Max Heath sends a high one inside 50. Gawn is resting deep in attack off the hands of Jefferson. Gawn might be able to crumb one here. He does. The big ruckman with the Rovers goal. Oh, he's done it all in the game, but you don't see that too often from Max Gawn. Snapping one to give the D's back the lead.
Trying to make Melbourne the first team with back-to-back majors in the game. Sharp's drop punt is straight through the middle. A sweet finish.
The AFL on ABC Sport.
On radio.
ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And ABC Listen.
As good as they've been this year, Melbourne, it's only the second time they've led at the first change. In a moment, Ryan O'Keefe, the 2012 Norm Smith medalist, and Joel Patfull, the 200 gamer, but before them, Declan Byrne on the boundary.
Oh, yes, the final centre ball up of the game, of the first quarter there. Isaac Heaney got collected and he was down holding his left ankle. He's been in the hands of the trainers all quarter time. Looks like he's getting his left ankle or foot re-strapped. He was running around trying to run it off, definitely not 100%. So an injury watch for the Swans on their absolute jet. Isaac Heaney, left ankle.
Thanks, Declan. I did have it pointed out to me, I think last Thursday night in Melbourne, that Mitch Edwards kind of looks like an enlarged version of Isaac Heaney as well. So just keep an eye out for that. Similar hairstyle. I think there were certain members of the Melbourne media calling him Jumbo Heaney and different names. But Ryan O'Keefe, Joel Patfull, what did you make of that opening term?
Look, I think Melbourne came to play, and you can see that they put the pressure on the Swans, and the Swans give you a look with that handball. There's opportunities for turnovers, and they have turned the Swans over and gone back and scored. I think Melbourne's ground level players have been really, really good. Steele and Cozzy Pickett are leading on the clearance aspect, and the D's are up 14-8 in clearances and 7-4 in centre bounce clearances. So we spoke about the ruck battle, but it's the ground level battle that's causing the biggest swing of who's probably on top of this game. And if you look at it, you have to say by taking the score out of it, that the D's are on top at the moment, looking really, really dangerous.
Well, they have been, and they hit the post 3 times as well, so they could have been further ahead if a couple of them had gone through. But you're right, with the centre clearance, they've just been dominant in there and really damaging, getting forward of the stoppage and putting the ball in dangerous positions inside 50. Been really able to slow down that Swans offence as well. When they have come forward, they've been wide and a bit slower than what we've seen. They haven't been able to run through the centre of the corridor. You haven't seen... Blakey has been damaging, but he hasn't been running and carrying the footy through the middle of the ground, what we've seen the last few weeks. So they've done their homework on the Swans, and they've been able to slow them down like they talked about before the game. So, but then on the other hand, the Swans have still been good enough with their ball use to pick the right option going inside 50. They're breaking down that zone, and that's why it's been a great game of footy. Both teams are doing things well, and they've both kicked a few goals. So all in all, I think the D's have come to play and doing a lot of things right.
What we know with this Sydney team is, and why they can play that handball game, is their running power. And they'll run and they'll go and they'll keep going and keep going. Can the D's do this for another 3 quarters? Now, that's the question mark.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that, because we had Simon Goodwin pre-game, and he spoke about when he came to Sydney, their running capability. Stephen King, Paul Guerra, before he departed Melbourne, was asked, he said when they were interviewing Stephen King, they said to him, what do you think of our list? And he said, I don't know yet, I need to see your GPS data. And that's one thing we have seen from Melbourne throughout the year, is their ability to run and carry and take the game on late into the fourth quarter. Whether it's as good as Sydney's running capabilities will be an interesting watch, I think, throughout this afternoon. Rock and Joel.
Yeah, they obviously, Sharp's an elite runner. It looks like, Wins is really good. Langford, they've got some good runners there, but across the board, your top players, they're going to produce, or your top runners are always going to be pretty level around it's your bottom 6 or your bottom half of the players, that running power. But what I'd like to see, and we've seen Marty do it really well as a key forward, he's up and about and getting really mobile. That's where if we're going to go on the Curnow setup there, I don't like him just anchored down there. He's an athletic guy. Get up and about, maybe switching players at centre half forward and get up and about and turn him around and get over the back.
Second quarter about to get underway. Brodie Myercheck out of the game with a hamstring injury. Heath in the ruck, taps it down, but Warner takes it for Sydney, kicks up towards half forward, bouncing ball on the ground, and Rosa scrapping after it. Umpire says holding the ball.
How can you pay that for a player that's trying to play and get going and someone jumps on him?
So Jath with the free kick, centre half back for the D's. Moves it out to the O'Reilly stand wing for Langdon. Langdon kicks around that wing. Jack Steele coming up. Rampy spoils it. Warner there to help out. His handball goes right back into the rubble. Ball eventually spits out on the wing. Sarong dragged down. Steele has him. Umpire lets them keep playing. Eventually, umpire Nick Foote comes in and says, I'll ball it up on that O'Reilly stand wing.
So Isaac Heaney's had the left ankle strapped. Back out there in the middle of it right now as Grundy slaps it forward in game 250. Well done by Jordan. Got the hands free and the handball forward to Sarong. His quick kick, though, is picked off by Petty. The left half back for the D's.
That's what Melbourne defenders are doing really well. They're playing front shoulder and they're getting first look at those quick kick forwards.
Melbourne by 2 points. Start of the second term. Petty's kick is marked nicely by Max Heath. Doing a good job. And he goes into the ruck for Gawn. His mark in the middle of the SCG, and then a very high ball into attack. Gawn's underneath it. Edwards with him. Falls to ground. Edwards picks it up. Needs to be careful, but got the handball free. Heaney runs onto it. Guides it towards Sarong.
Sarong, handball over his head. Pinched by Melbourne. They've got it half forward. Laurie to Sharp. Look out, Roses. He arrives, tackles him. Ball jars free. Sydney there through Rowbottom. Spits out. Dispossessed in the tackle, taken high. And Sydney take the advantage. There's a lizard on the loose. Blakey loops the handball. Warner centre half forward. Has a man on. It's Lloyd. And he pops it to him. 40 out, 45-degree angle at left half forward.
It's interesting, I spoke about before, as the Swans were coming through there, the Melbourne defenders, they played that front shoulder. And Curnow and both McDonald are getting caught behind. They're not coming up and presenting at the ball carrier.
Jake Lloyd hasn't been a notable goal kicker in his career. 54 majors from 278 games. There's a look here. to make it 3 in a row for Sydney. Starts it right, doesn't quite bring it back enough. Punched away by the D's and thumped out of bounds. Jake Lever coming over the pack to put his knuckles through it. Throw in right forward pocket for Sydney. Melbourne by 2 points, nearly 3 played second term.
That's the ball movement they're looking for, though. Blakey through the middle, run and carry. 11 touches now for Blakey.
Heath still in the ruck, opposed to Grundy. Grundy palms it down, does his own roving, and then kicks what would have been a beauty. That post has got a magnet attached to it. It's the 4th time it's been hit in the game so far, and that time from 15 metres out. Grundy found some space. You would have backed him to convert from there, but it's another post up. Melbourne lead by 1 point, early stages of the second term.
Tolstrup with the kick in, long up to the wing. Van Rooyen and Melican both with hands on it, roving the pack. Heaney chips it short, away to McInerney, too far out to score. Centering kick, and Roses is on a heater. He marks on his chest, 45 out directly in front.
It's when you get good ball users. Heaney lowers the eyes, hits McInerney, McInerney hits Roses. It's good to see when good ball users get the ball in hand, they actually make something happen and make you pay.
2 first quarter goals for Malcolm Roses, former Gold Coast Suns Academy player. Trots in, puts it on his left boot, and it is all sunshine and roses for Sydney at the SCG. He's got 3, and they take back the lead. They lead by 5 points, 6-3-39, plays 5-4-34. 4 minutes into the second term, Ryan O'Keefe and Joel Papful.
That ball looked like a Mitchell Stark outswinger when he came through. It did absolutely everything, but you can just see he's busy. He's getting around and getting into good spots and on the move, and that's the key thing to be a forward. You know, when you teach young forwards, be moving. Don't be standing still, because as a defender, it's easy to know where your forward is if they've just got the concrete shoes on. But if you're up and about and moving, it makes it hard to defend.
You're right, and especially when the Melbourne defence is playing a zone and they're being a little bit aggressive as well. So he wouldn't have a direct match-up, Roses. So he's going through that zone, and as he moves through, a different player picks him up. So if you're smart enough and can position yourself in the right position, you're going to be dangerous all game.
3 goals for Roses. Ball in dispute in the middle of the ground. Rowbottom is well held. So his career best is 4, Malcolm Roses. That was against Melbourne, in fact. Round 8, 2023. So he's on PB pace early at the SCG. Swans lead by 5 points.
Everyone's got a bunny.
Heath down to Laurie. Steele works it forward. Plenty of hands on the footy. No one can win it cleanly, though. Eventually, Rowbottom does. And just guides it towards centre half forward. Lever, with all of his experience, darts around a couple of Swans. Gets onto his right and kicks to half forward. It's surely a mark to Steele. Not according to the umpire. Didn't hold it for long enough. It was knocked out of his hands. D's win it back anyway. Through Langford on his left. Long ball inside 50. Van Rooyen there. Well done, Edwards. Will Edwards left Gawn and went to that contest and punched it away from Van Rooyen. He is starting to make a name for himself in the Swans backline.
That's confidence for a second game player. There's big raps on him, so it's great to see he's just backing himself out there.
Had to wait a while for his chance. 2022 rookie draft selection, so he's been waiting a while. Ethan Grundy and a bad throw in, I think. Free kick picked off the ball. He picked up off the ball.
They're persisting with the Heath, Max Heath in the ruck, and leaving Maxi down deep. Max. So Gorney down deep forward and Heath up in the ruck.
Heaney off centre half back, kicks into the middle of the SCG for McInerney. Feeds the runner Blakey through the bullseye, and a dart for Papley. He marks on 50, moves it on again, and guess who? Malcolm Roses.
Someone's got to play on him, don't they?
Yeah.
See that guy? He's kicked 3. Someone go and stand on him.
Someone play. It's the same as Blakey, though. I mean, Blakey's had 12 now, yet just the start of the second quarter. So someone has to go and take a little bit of accountability, and you know who the dangerous players are as the game goes. You don't have to play. It's not a lockdown. It's not a tag, but someone's got to get closer.
I love playing against zone defences, because if you actually work hard, you can get a truckload of it.
Malcolm Roses looking for his 4th. Have yourself a day, Malcolm. 4 majors, 7 minutes into their second term. 7-3-45 Sydney. Melbourne 5-4-34. This is Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Ryan O'Keefe and Joel Patfull. Who were your bunnies throughout your AFL careers?
Had a few. No.
Which team did you love playing against most?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Come on, you do know.
I don't know. West Coast was always good to me.
What about you, Joel?
I always had to play on the dangerous players, so it's too hard to have bunnies. I think I played on Russell Robertson a lot when I first started. I don't think he kicked a goal on me in like 3 or 4 games, so I'll take that for some reason. For some reason, that sticks in my mind.
There you go. Well, Malcolm Roses, the D's are his bunny. Melbourne need to wake up and smell the roses here. Someone get on him. 4 majors for the former Sun. Swans up by 11 points. Melbourne win it though in the middle of the ground through Pickett. Got it to Langford. Now Windsor on the wing, looking for Jack Steele. Taking the mark next to Rowbottom. Plays on quickly. Here's Cozzy. 52 out from the boundary. Cozzy Pickett. It's across the face and is marked by Jefferson, who slams it home from half a metre out. Could the Swans defence have done better there? Maybe they thought it was going through. Jefferson at the back took the grab and slammed it home for his first, and Melbourne responds. Swans margin back to 5 points.
Windsor, I'm really impressed with Windsor. He's got that running power and clean and uses the ball very, very well. So he's been one that's trying to get that Melbourne midfield going as a young player. So that was really good from him. But yeah, that was a bit easy for the Swans defence to give that up. An easy chest mark and just get one back so easy.
Well, it's one thing you hate to see as a defender is almost an uncontested mark on the goal line, wasn't it? So you'd think there'd be someone coming over the back to kill that contest. But once again, from centre square clearance, Melbourne got forward and they're looking dangerous once they get inside 50.
Gawn and Grundy back at it in the middle. Gawn hooks it to the side, coming in off the wing for Melbourne. Cross unable to gather it cleanly and allows Sydney to go forward. Langdon fumbles it. Jordan picks it off to McInerney. Gets it moving forward away towards Cootie. Now Rowbottom. Roses again. Make it 5. A handful. It's exactly what he's been. Melbourne's defence can't handle him.
Get on him.
5 first half goals for Malcolm Roses. 8-3-51. Plays 6-4-40. Sydney by 11 points, 10 into the second.
What about the hands from Billy Cootie here? He got a forward handball given to him. He had about 2 Melbourne guys on him, and he had the ability, just quick hands, to get it out to help that goal there. But that was it's electric going in and out. He's
coming to the bench. You'd leave him on, wouldn't you? He's just kicked his.
He's happy. He's happy.
He's kicked his 5th in the first half and he's coming to have a rest. But, I mean, it was a great bit of play. It was clean hands by the Swans coming through inside 50. But there is no one within 10 metres of him. No. He has not had a body on him for the whole first half.
Not sure why you take him off. Maybe it's a way to throw the match up. I just saw the D's finger pointing, trying to sort out who's got him. They have won the clearance here in Melbourne. Swans up by 11 points. And ball wrapped up. Inside attack for the D's. Does get squeezed out in the end. Langford gets around Rowbottom. Handball inboard to Windsor. Off a step from 49. Doesn't get clean connection over the head of Edwards. And we'll have a boundary throw in. Left forward pocket for Melbourne.
What about Garby? He nearly ejected out of his seat when Malcolm Roses got the footy. He was so excited.
But the thing is, if you're coaching, you're an offensive coach and you're looking at a team that's zoning and not picking up, you just say lower lies, use the loose options. Can really capitalise.
Grundy wins the ruck tap, gets it down to Blakey. He's slow to get to his feet. And then Wicks guides it up the boundary line. We'll have a throw in. The D's appealing for insufficient intent, not paid.
Or the lasso, it's inside the 50.
It is. So
not between the arcs.
No. Malcolm Roses with 5 first half majors. They'll come back on shortly and the D's will have to sort themselves out defensively. Grundy and Gawn at it again. Grundy wins front position, wheels away, handball over the top.
Cross, able to pick it off for Melbourne. He's tackled out of bounds though, caught holding the ball. Not saved by the line, unfortunately. A free kick going the way of Cootie on the back flank. Swans by 11 points. You heard right, Malcolm Roses 5 first half goals. Short kick infield away to McInerney. Where do you two sit on whether he's the fourth member of a now four-man star Sydney midfield alongside Warner, Heaney and Gordon. He's still stopping short of that.
McInerney, I think so, yeah, definitely improved. He's there. I'd play him in the inside before I have Warner, and I'd have Warner play as more of a forward.
Sydney working it around the members' wing. Lloyd takes the mark and the kick from Mills, gives it back to him, that forward handball. Mills does the same. Rampy running by, kicks inside 50, and in good position, Petty completes the mark defensively for the Demons.
It's too flat, needed a bit more air in that kick from Rampy, would give Marty a bit of a chance to make a contest.
But Jordan's still running with Pickett. It's a good battle because he's certainly got him for pace, but Jordan stick to the task. They work it out of defensive 50. Mark taken by Jaff, the former Hawk. At left half back as the shadows extend over the SCG. Jaff plays on, high ball, up the wing, good leap from Van Rooyen, brings it down to Sharp. Can get hands on it. And the Swans win it back through Blakey. McInerney's in space. A grubber kick into the middle of the ground, picked up by Warner, gets it to Jordan against his old side, looking for Curnow. Well done again, Daniel Turner, having a superb game deep in defence. Again got to the front, punched it away, boundary throw in, left forward pocket for the Swans who lead by 11.
Curnow's playing it all wrong. He's playing from behind. Turner's playing it really smart, and he's not moving or providing any option. He had all the space in the world there. He should have been an easy mark on the chest.
Sydney by 11, forward 50 stoppage. Grundy brings it to the front. Turner's kick smothered though. He then gets rid of Papley. He was stripped of it though. Tolstrup ends up with the footy. In amongst the congestion, Curnow somehow flicks it out. Hurried kick from Cross. Coming through for the D's. Across halfback, Latrell Pickett. Handball to himself. Goes for a little run. Takes a couple of bounces. Playing some backyard footy. Sweeps the handball. And it's a turnover. Rampy gathers for Sydney. And now they chain handballs around the wing, Sydney.
Jordan the 1-2 with Lloyd. Now to Rampy. Here's Blakey. 60 out. Gets a little bit confused for a moment, then gives it to Lloyd. Here's Warner in space. Runs around Chad Warner. You would put the glasses down normally and assume he'll slot that one, but it's just pushed across the face for a behind. Swans lead by 12 points. 8-4-52. Melbourne 6-4-40. How electrifying was that from Latrell Pickett? And then the handball just went awry.
did all the hard stuff and couldn't finish off the easy part.
Does feel like the arm wrestle just swinging the way of Sydney at the moment as Langdon runs to the pocket, kicks to the wing, turns it over. Mark from Melican, kicks Sydney back inside 50. Lloyd goes up, hands to it, brings it to ground level. Gathered there by Langdon, who gets a handball away towards Langford. Now Lloyd burrows in. Papley somehow merges with it. Half forward for Sydney. McInerney away to Jordan, met by Cozzy Pickett. And it's a family trait. The Pickett tackles, they hurt. There's going to be a free kick here, is it? No. Ball up.
That was smart umpiring there. Just ball it up and get on with it.
Swans by 12 points, 60-minute mark of the second term. Can Warner keep this in? He does. Clever tap to Papley. And falling in the back of him was Langdon. Has he won the free kick? I think he has for a high tackle. So Tom Papley doesn't need an invitation in that situation.
Well,
he saw Langdon coming, didn't he?
Yeah, and he ducks a lot, Papley. He usually doesn't get given the free kick, so he's finally one.
Ducking or taking the legs, it's 50-50 that one, isn't it? I mean,
who knows?
He's turned into the tackler and he's been hit in the head, so which way do you call it?
Flip a coin.
Showed all his experience. He just had a little look over his shoulder, saw Langdon coming and knew what was likely, and that is a free kick for high contact. So Tom Papley loves these situations. 35 out on the boundary. Watch for the celebration if he slots this. That he does. And he wheels away. Fingers pointing. Plenty of high fives. The Swans extend their lead to 18 points. And Tom Papley is on the board for his first of the game. He's had to play second fiddle to Malcolm Roses.
Well, that's
the small forward battle for the Swans today.
And that's the beauty of their team. And then you can throw in young Billy Cootie in there as well. And they've got this dynamic forward line that if one player's down, another player's stepping up, and that's a sign of a good team. But as I mentioned, going in, the Swans' frenetic pace and their running power, it's just maybe just starting to crack Melbourne a little bit. Melbourne have haven't been able to shut anything down or force any turnovers or get any clean ball themselves.
Yeah, you're right. They need to close down that space a little bit, don't they? The Swans have been getting too much space through the midfield, and they're too good. If you give them 5 metres, they're going to take advantage of that and hit that target inside 50. But Papley there definitely used all his experience to draw the free kick out and a beautiful finish.
4-1 in the second term, the way of Sydney. Lead by 18 points. Just repeating, Brody Myercheck out of the game with a hamstring injury. Max Heath in the ruck, and Heaney gathers for Sydney. Gets a handball moving forward, up towards half forward. Winning it back though, Sparrow for the D's. Off to Langford, to Steele, to Windsor. Steele retreats with the handball. And the kick around the wing comes from Howes. Up to half forward. Knocked down there by Sarong, and Sydney back with the footy through Wiggs. No, caught holding the ball, Sarong. Oh. Free kick will go to Chandler. Mark said 52 metres out from the attacking goal for the D's.
Chandler to a dangerous area inside 50. Van Rooyen with a really nice leap. Sharp's there. And he's wrapped up by Roberts. We'll have a ball up. 10 out from the Melbourne attacking goal square.
That Brody Myercheck injuries robbed us a little bit of Gawn versus Grundy, because Heath has been in the ruck rather than Gawn, and Gawn's gone forward.
And Heath won a free kick. McDonald was caught behind him, and in his efforts to get back into the ruck contest has infringed on Max Heath. So the backup ruck, who as you say is doing a lot of the work himself, will have a shot now from 30 out, almost straight in front, Max Heath.
Oh, what's...
It's a tough one, isn't it? It's like a bit of a tangle, a bit of a leg tangle, but he's actually looked pretty good in the ruck, though. Jumps well.
He's good size, 204 centimetres.
He has looked handy for his first goal of the season, Max Heath. Slots it nicely, and his teammates converge on him. He's been a really nice acquisition. He's having an impact today. Now he's on the board for Melbourne. Sydney 9-4-58. The D's 7-4-46, courtesy of the Max Heath major. Swans lead by 12 points. Almost time on in the second quarter here at the SCG.
Well, we have been robbed a bit of that contest, haven't we? Gawn versus Grundy, but the young Melbourne ruckman has looked good. Heath, he's looking, he's confident, jumps well. He's giving a lot of that first look to that Melbourne midfield, especially in the centre of the ground, and then going forward against inexperienced ruckman, then drawing the free kick and looking dangerous. So
yeah, he's been quite impressive. I've been very happy with his game, and he's I think Brody's had a really good game and been solid, probably leading the ruck duel out of everyone, but obviously he's competing very well and not shy to have a crack.
Saw the writing on the wall with TDK coming in at St Kilda, and Marshall there as well, as Warner hacks it out of the clearance towards full forward here for Sydney. Socket on goal, and very nearly through from Charlie Curnow. It was alongside the point post, threw a boot at it, and very nearly found the major opening. Sydney by 13 points.
Bringing it back in quickly is Langdon. Has a couple of bounces, almost runs outside defensive 50, but they turned it over now. Lloyd with the mark, moves it forward to McInerney, gathers it on the half volley, and then with a clever kick, puts it out in front of Warner. He couldn't collect it cleanly though. Well won by Sparrow. Handball back to Howes. Lloyd got a hand in front of Langford, and short it went over the boundary line. So we'll have a throw in, right half forward for Sydney. That's deliberate against Lloyd.
How can that be deliberate when he's going up in the air to contest the ball?
I think that's a spoil, which is allowed. An interesting one. Langford will bring it back in for Melbourne. Kicking up to Heath at front position on McDonald. Couldn't take the mark. Swans win it at ground level. Sarong, row bottom, palms off Latrell Pickett. Goes the other way and gives it to Sheldrick. Tumbling ball into attack. D's defence had the front position. Langdon dropped the mark but is able to recover. Gives it back to Jaff, who finds some space.
Gives it off to Howes. Exiting kick is good for Sharp. Sydney by 13 points. Nearly 22 travelled second term. Sharp kicks up to neutral territory. Members wing. Cozzy arriving late. Spoils it down. Sydney have the numbers. Rampy emerges with the football. Handball to Rowbottom. Back feeds it to Bice. Bice, usually a good kick. Out wide for Roberts. Just in the field of play. Roberts moves it on quickly. And Sheldrick accepts. Too far out to score. And too easily pokes it into the path of Amadi. No D's defender going with him. Marks 2 metres in from the boundary line, 25 metres out.
Amadi's playing in front and he's moving and leading. That's why he's having all these marks inside 50 and shots on goal. He's playing the perfect key forward role at the moment. I think the other two key forwards for the Swans back there, they've got to stop anchoring themselves to the goalpost.
Going with the snap, off a step, straight through the middle. Mark down a third for Joel Amadi. Sydney by a game high 19 points. 10-5-65 plays 7-4-46. 23 played second term.
You're right. But what he's doing is he's creating separation between him and his defender, and he's getting off and he's physical and then he's leading at the footy, and that's hard to stop when it's a short lead up. But for some reason, Curnow and McDonald just want to play deep, and they're getting caught in a wrestle. Like, he's actually not being able to get off his opponent, and if he gets kicked long, he's almost out of position already because he's wrestling and he's not being proactive in his positioning. So probably I'd agree with you about he probably needs to get up the ground a little bit, run around, get in behind him and create some space between you and your defender so you're not constantly in a wrestle.
They need to change something. He's a witch's hat down there at the moment. He's literally not Petty's playing Turner.
Well, they're both playing on him, yeah.
And they're playing in front and he's doing nothing.
Swans lead by 19 points. Amadi getting in on the Roses party. His third to go with Roses 5. And the Swans win a free kick. Heaney pumps it deep into attack. Petty with front position this time on Amadi. Takes a good defensive mark. Left back pocket. The 24 minutes gone in the second term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Ryan O'Keefe, Joel Patfull, Ben Cameron and myself, Daniel Garb with you. Melbourne have been strong, but this is getting away from them a touch. As the D's move it up on the boundary line from right half back. Lever. He's had a lot of the footy this year, Jake Lever. Handball back to Turner, who kept running. And eventually it's over the boundary line as Blakey and Chandler come out to meet it in front of the Swans bench. Brody Mychek off with a hamstring injury early for the D's. A big blow for them. Now the margin's out to 19 points in favour of Sydney.
And Malcolm Roses, 5 first half goals. Umpire hurls it back in. Heath and Grundy. Grundy backhands it down back towards the boundary line. Swatted out. And the umpire says offhand, spin it in. Someone swatted it boundary side, but both teams' players appealed.
Well, they paid one against Lloyd over that side. That was way more deliberate. I don't get it.
The umpire does it again. Grundy and Heath. Grundy slaps it in the Papley direction. Cross right there with him. Manages to extract a handball. Now Langdon goes in. He gets a handball well into the outside, and Bice makes it his. Nice pirouette. Handball for Roberts to Grundy to Roberts. So Sydney in possession, kicks around the wing. Warner in space, takes off with it, kicks inside 50. Curnow. Surely the mark, yes. He had a lot of it, then fumbled it right at the very end, but paid it 25 out, 30-degree angle.
There's just so much space for the ball. They had Warner and Papley all alone, so I'm not sure that zone defence get caught not defending anyone at all. They had options everywhere.
Sydney's highest score to half-time this year was 7-3-45, so they've blown by that. Charlie Curnow trying to add his name to the goal kickers list. Tugs it. Hard left. It was a bad miss. Hasn't been his day. Charlie, 20 points neat is Sydney's lead. 10-6 plays 7-4.
It's a super high scoring game, really, isn't it, for a first half?
Dolstrip brings it back in for the D's. High ball up to the wing. Good mark, Logan McDonald in front of Langford.
Just on that, we've had 6 games already this year where both teams have scored 100 points. We only had 5 for the entirety of last year.
McDonald switches it. Bounced in front of Mills. Did well to gather it and get it to Rampy. Now to Grundy. The milestone man, game 250. Takes the mark and kicks to Roberts at left half forward. 60 out, guides one, looking for Curnow. Gawn's back there. I'm not sure that was the wisest kick from Roberts considering that. And Gawn is able to punch it through for a rush behind. So Amadi's now caught Curnow in the Swans leading goal kicker standings. Curnow had 7 last week to move up to 19, and Amadi with 3 today has joined him with Charlie Curnow goalless.
Tolstrup, the kick-in duties. Sends it in the Gawn and Grundy direction. The latter with the hand on it. Once the Sydney jumpers in pursuit. McInerney knocks it on and Blakey runs back into a number of Demons. Caught holding the ball. They'll take the advantage. Oh, Laurie drops it. The umpire got in the way. So Jordan picks it up for the men in red and white. Off to McInerney. Kicks up the pipe to his great mate in Papley, who tumbles to ground marking on the arc of 50.
That's pretty unlucky there, really, isn't it?
Papley ends up playing on, so just goes long on goal and away to the right.
It's a bit of a nothing kick, that. Tried to give it off to Blakey, but got called played-ons, just sort of bombed it willy-nilly. You're better off just putting that to the top of the square.
Inside 50s this quarter now, 18-6 in favour of Sydney. So Swans starting to dominate this game. 28 minutes gone in the second term. Sydney by 22 points. Wicks gathers it. Missed the mark with a handball, though. Try to go back to McInerney. Moving it forward with Steele. Then Ryan tackled well. Swans' pressure is high. Spills the way of Chandler, though. On his left quickly. Long ball into attack. Rampy wrestling with Fritsch. Rampy wins out. Good spoil towards the boundary line. That was nice from the veteran. And we'll have a throw in just inside attacking 50 for Melbourne, right half forward.
As you mentioned there, Garbs, just some of their hard pressure and tackling the Swans. Some of their hard nuts down back like Mills and Rampy just really don't give you much at all and showing some muscle at the moment.
Sydney by 22. Grundy moves, gone out of the way. It bounces back to him. He spikes it to the boundary, tumbles out. Where's the umpire? Insufficient intent. So Jack Steele to take the free kick. Goes central inside 50. Up they go. Sparrow hands on it. Chandler at the fall of the ball. On his right side, which is his wrong side. And it looked like it too. Missed it wide right. Out of bounds on the full. Sydney by 22. Left footers in their right boots. Just there for balance sometimes.
Come on.
The Norm Smith medalist Ryan O'Keefe disagrees. Here's Mills, right back pocket for Sydney. Nice one up the wing to Lloyd. Swans by 22. 30 minutes gone in the second term. In that little pocket that still has some sunshine on it, Jake Lloyd. Nice crowd here at the SCG. And Swans are happy to chip it around as we get close to that halftime siren. Lloyd and Rampy sharing it as they've done countless times throughout their illustrious careers. Now the skipper in Mills tells a pack to form on the wing. Now sends it there. McDonald to win front position. And they're happy to see that over the boundary line under the Bill O'Reilly stand. Sydney 10-8-68. Melbourne 7-4-46. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Plenty in attendance here today. Is that a celebrity on the big screen we should know?
I'm not sure.
Was that Sydney Sweeney?
It did look like Sydney Sweeney, didn't it?
She's been here before.
Yeah.
No, I think she's in town for filming something at the moment, so it could be.
Well,
I don't know.
Stop the presses.
Did have the big sunnies on and the cap as well.
It's not in my wheelhouse, that sort of stuff, so I can't comment.
Melbourne looking to switch. Gawn goes right back to Turner, who goes to Petty. His kick smothered. Chad Warner, a diving smother. Ricochets out of play for a throw-in. And is the desperation you need. Sydney by 22 points. Declan Byrne.
Can confirm it is Sydney Sweeney. Errol Goulden was first there to give her a number 21 Guernsey.
She had the hat on and the sunnies on, so it was hard to pick out. But, yeah, some serious Hollywood A-list action inside the SCG at the moment. Swans by 22 points. And she has been here before, of course. Shot a movie here a few years ago and spent some time at the SCG.
What's the movie they're shooting at the moment?
I don't know, but anyone but use the one that they did before. They brought her here. Whatever it is, I'm sure I'll see it at some stage. Heaney sockers it to McInerney. Back to Sheldrick. Now Wicks, high ball. Middle of the grounds. I'll fly for this one. Falls the way of Cozzy Pickett. Can he ignite the D's? He's turned it over. Melican's marked at centre-half back.
Melican flares it out wide for Roses. 5 first-half goals for Malcolm Roses. Gives the handball to Rampy. Who releases Lloyd through half forward. Kicks the Swans to full forward. Gawn's back there. Sport away. Curnow Rose dispossessed. Holding the ball. He was caught by Tolstrup. His fellow curly locks buddy in Colton Tolstrup. And the siren sounds for half-time. What a half of footy. Sydney will lead by 22 points, their highest scoring first half in 2026. 10-8-68, plays 7-4-46. So 22 points to the good. The goal kickers, Malcolm Roses with 5 goals in the first half. That's his best at AFL level. Joel Lamarty with 3. Tom Papley and Logan McDonald with 1. While for Melbourne, 2 to Harry Sharp, then singles to Max Heath, his first goal in Melbourne colours. Matthew Jefferson, Max Gawn, Caleb Windsor and Jacob Van Rooyen. 10-8-68, plays 7-4-46. Joel Patfull, Ryan O'Keefe, how did you see the first half?
Just interesting, just watching the Melbourne body language and hands on hips and bent over. We spoke about, can they go this intensity and match the Swans' ferocity and running power for 4 quarters? It just looked like it was starting to break open a little bit. So I think half-time, hopefully they can recoup, get some energy back, because it's starting to look like the Swans are going to run away with this quite comfortably.
Well, the last 5-10 minutes of that quarter, it looked like that, didn't it? The gaps were starting to open up a bit more, and that Melbourne zone was starting to falter. We talked about a bit of accountability and man-on-man inside their back 50, but it was happening all over the ground, and that's what the Swans do. They pull you apart, and they played wide in the first quarter because that's what Melbourne gave them, and then they started to come back through the middle. They got their run and carry when Melbourne gave them a few looks as well. So really got the game back on their terms in that quarter, and like you said, that last 5-10 minutes they really put the foot down and looking dangerous every time they're going inside 50.
Yeah, and they've also not reliant on one or two players, or if one, a couple of players are down in their key forwards. Marty's definitely stepped up. Roses has stepped up where Papley hasn't really done too much. So that's the beauty of a good team. One player's down, another player's up, and they can share the workload. So,
well, Roses has been the one, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Kick 5 in the first half as a small forwards would rarely happen. So for him to be so dangerous and not have so much space inside 50 is not very common. So I think Melbourne definitely need to go back and look at that structure and look at why he's getting so much space inside their forward 50.
Oh, totally. Like if you're playing up against a dangerous small forward, I remember when we had like a Nick Smith or something, he'd be a clamp. Be going, who's the most dangerous small forward for the opposition or the Swans? After he's surely now, I'd be having someone in his back pocket the whole game. You're not getting a single metre on anyone. So that's where I just think a zone defence just doesn't work.
Well, it's the modern game, isn't it? There's the zone defence, and I think it takes away that accountability, that one-on-one accountability of the forward versus defender. So, it's hard because if you're going to go with that and stick with that as your structure, you've got to commit to it and try and get it right. But it's games like this where it really tests whether that zone's the right way to go about it, because there are guys who are smart and they get in the right position. And someone like Rosie, if he had a direct matchup, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have kicked 5 in the first half if they had someone, at least having a bit of a look at him. But you see him come to stoppage, and within 30 seconds, he's got 10, 20 metres free. So there's just zero accountability whatsoever.
Just so multi-layered, Sydney, aren't they? So Curnow, just the 2 kicks without a goal, but Amarty's kicked 3, Roses bobs up with 5, and then Blakey and McInerney 16 touches each. The score involvements, Grundy with 7 of them, Warner and McInerney with 6, Blakey with 5. They've just got so many players to hit you with.
You've spoken a lot, Ryan, about Charlie Curnow playing too deep. Like, is part of that on him, and how much of that's on him? How much is on the coaches to say, look, we want you up the ground, maybe play him at centre-half forward and have Amarty deep a little more so that Curnow can use those athletic attributes that he has to get up the ground?
Well, I think that's part of his weapon for such a big guy, so mobile and athletic. But watching it, all the centre bounce clearances, all their forwards have pushed up and leaving him isolated. But Petty or their Melbourne defenders are just playing in front of him, and just he's anchored to the goal square, and it's just like, you're not moving, which makes it easy to defend against. So, like, I don't know. If I was a mate, I'd say, mate, you just keep staying there. I'm happy up here racking them up.
Is it possible that they're happy for that? Because while Turner's beating him and Curnow might be quiet, it creates so much space for Amarty to roam in, and then a player like Roses, of course, to find space.
And look, I'm not an inner sanctum, but the Swans have never been about pumping up one individual. It's about the team and the team kicking the goal and kicking the goals and scoring, which they are. So you'd go, okay, well that's what we're doing. We're pulling Melbourne's defence apart with other players, and Charlie's maybe just the decoy.
He's clearly, he's benefiting Amati from what's happening with Curnow Deep. But, I mean, if you're a Swans coach, you're not happy with his output because not only is he, not taking the marks or kicking the goals, he's not really in the game at all. Like, he's, when it's a one-on-one contest, I want to, push off and have a jump at the footy. Like, at least be strong in the contest. He doesn't look like he's dynamic. He's not trying different ways to get off. He's just getting caught in a wrestle. And I don't think that's that's not your marquee forward that you want up forward, even though there are other players that are benefiting from it.
Or if you're not getting on the end of it, put on some forward pressure, get involved in the game. Yeah, I totally agree with you there, Joel. Just get involved. Just do something. Do the little things and be active.
Nearly John Kennedy Sr. Do something.
Just do something.
Swans will tell you they don't care, though. In the live ladder, they're top right now, and they'll say, Charlie will have his quiet games, but it's made us a far more dangerous team because of the availability of Amati.
That's the party line, but I've signed a big marquee forward, probably on good. He's the one that should be not equal, a guy who's trying to get a new contract on equal goals.
Well, he got a shot, so late in the quarter, he gets one over the back. He nearly spills the uncontested mark, which was 50-50 whether it was actually a mark or not, and then shanks it to the left, having a shot at goal. So you're paying a bloke a lot of money to kick goals, and that's your one opportunity you get for the game, and that's what he delivers. So he just doesn't look like assured when he's jumping at the footy, and he's double grabbing it a lot. So I think they would be a little bit concerned.
Because it's hard to compare players, but when they've brought in a Plugger or a Hawley, these guys, they've come in and they've dominated and kicked goals.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that go into it, whether he's lost some of that athleticism. He's had a lot of injuries over the course of the journey now. Smaller ground at Sydney as well. I here at the SCG, I always thought his best work was when he got up between the arcs like we've spoken about. Whether that's impacting, I don't know.
He did kick 7 last week.
He did, but that was in Melbourne at Docklands, wasn't it?
And against a decimated Bulldogs.
I reckon Rock could have kicked 7 last week against the Bulldogs, the way the ball was coming.
Yeah.
But
he doesn't look...
against good defenders and a good defensive unit. And if you look at the Ds, with Lever, Turner and Petty, some 3 big key defenders that are just playing him in front, he's not moving. He's almost like conceding. And that's probably to my point. Like, as a forward, you go, okay, this isn't working. How do I change? Make the defenders guess. Don't get them set because they're just set playing in front. It's easy. They're just picking it off too easy.
Oh, I feel a little spooked. I can hear my old coaches telling me to get in the dishwasher and get moving as well. With
if he wasn't Charlie Curnow, we wouldn't be having the conversation. But the fact that he's who he is, because they've kicked 66 points or whatever it is in a half a footy, so they're obviously scoring well and the team's playing well. But it's just who he is, what he can do. I think that's why we're having the conversation.
The other news is that Brody Myercheck has done a hamstring, so he was out of this game very early on, which is a real shame because he's been a great acquisition for Melbourne this season. Okay.
And what we've seen from that is Gorney's had to play a lot forward, and that massive ruck battle you've been waiting for all game has gone to the other Max.
I flew up here. I was so excited waiting for it, and we've barely got it. But so be it. Some other news. Paddy Cripps has only been given a fine for his chicken wing tackle on Hugo Garcia last night. Harry Dean also fined for misconduct, a couple of pushes on Liam Henry. And Josh Gabelich is reporting that Taylor Walker has a low-grade hamstring strain and Jordan Butt's a low-grade adductor, so won't be available before Adelaide's round 12 bye. Okay, Sydney leading by 22 points. Let's pause and get the latest from the ABC newsroom.
Hello, this is ABC News with David Rowlands. Northern Territory Police have formally charged a man with murdering a 5-year-old girl in Alice Springs. As Courtney Barrett-Peters reports, police have also arrested almost a dozen people in relation to unrest that broke out after the man's arrest last week.
Jefferson Lewis has been charged with 1 count of murder following the disappearance of 5-year-old Kumanjai little baby from a town camp. He was arrested on Thursday after the girl's body was found and remains in police custody in Darwin after his arrest sparked unrest in Alice Springs. Acting Detective Superintendent Michael Alderman says 11 people have so far been arrested over their alleged involvement.
Essentially, it's criminalistic, it's outright looting.
Commissioner Martin Dole accepts it's been a difficult time for the community.
This is horrific events and a horrific set of circumstances, and our thoughts remain strongly with the family, also with the community.
Jefferson Lewis will face court this week.
Police are investigating a triple death in Sydney's southwest, with a fourth victim recovering from injuries. A 32-year-old man, believed to be a family relative, is in custody, and police say a blunt force weapon like a hammer may have been used. Moyen Sheikh lives around the corner from the crime scene, and he says he saw police cars and heard sirens at around 2 o'clock this morning.
It did kind of shock me, like when I heard the news that few people got killed in the house. Yeah, definitely it's something shocking. The neighbors are quite friendly here. There is a school here. There's a lot of kids riding on the bikes. It's a very lovely neighbourhood.
The Israeli military has issued an urgent warning to residents of 11 towns and villages in southern Lebanon, urging them to evacuate their homes and move at least 1 kilometre away to open areas. The military says it's conducting operations against Hezbollah militants following what it describes as a violation of their ceasefire agreement, warning that anyone near fighters or facilities could be at risk. At least 7 people have died in the latest Israeli strikes across southern Lebanon, and its troops are occupying a strip of the country's south and destroying homes that they describe as infrastructure being used by the Iran-backed Hezbollah. It's unclear how far US President Donald Trump is prepared to reduce American troop numbers in Germany by, after threatening to withdraw many more than the 5,000 already announced. Trump's latest threat comes amid an ongoing spat with German Chancellor Friedrich Merz. More on this story from the BBC's Bernard Dabusman.
What he didn't say is how deep those cuts would go or where those troops would go, whether they be repositioned to the continental U.S. or repositioned to other countries in Europe deemed as more friendly, more cooperative with the U.S. in regards to the war in Iran, countries in Eastern Europe, for example. But certainly this will kind of cause a lot of alarm in Germany and in other European capitals that feel very strongly that the U.S. presence there is a security guarantee.
Back home, and Victorian opposition leader Jess Wilson says despite her party's by-election win, its decreased primary vote means there's much to learn ahead of the state election later this year. Liberal candidate Anthony Marsh claimed the seat of Nepean in Melbourne's Mornington Peninsula comfortably yesterday after facing challenges from One Nation, the Greens and Independents. Labor didn't field a candidate, while One Nation made headway in the more working-class parts of the electorate and ended up with almost a quarter of the primary vote. Ms Wilson says she's well aware of some voters' frustration with her party.
We've got lessons to learn and we need to listen to voters. And that's what I've done. I've done it on the booth every single day. I heard their frustration. I heard the fact that they believe this was a by-election where that they could take a free kick because they want to send the major parties a message. They want us to listen to them.
Surf lifesavers in New South Wales say they didn't know a dead whale was being towed through the waters of Wollongong beaches south of Sydney, attracting sharks until members of the public phoned it in. The National Parks and Wildlife Service operation saw a 25-tonne whale carcass towed from the Royal National Park to Bellambi boat ramp for disposal on Friday morning. Surf lifesaving Illawarra's Anthony Turner says he was first notified by fishermen just before 11 a.m. that the whale was in the water at Bellambi. He says because of the shark risk, lifesavers had to act quickly to deploy drones and clear the water.
Once our drones were put up, we did sight 12 sharks within that afternoon around the Woonona, Bulleye and Corrimal, Bellambi areas. So it was quite concerning and we escalated it. So we did everything we could from our point of view for community safety.
ABC News.
She's gotten worse. Lots of anger.
Ursula Carlson, No Filters, brand new comedy.
She's contracted early onset Karen.
Ursula, streaming now on ABC iView. This is the 2026 AFL Premiership season with ABC Sport.
Away to McInerney, too far out to score. Centre and kick, and Roses is on a heater. He marks on his chest, 45 out directly in front. 2 first quarter goals for Malcolm Roses, former Gold Coast Suns Academy player. Trots in, puts it on his left boot, and it is all sunshine and roses for Sydney at the SCG. And they take back the lead. Malcolm Roses looking for his 4th. Have yourself a day, Malcolm. 4 majors, 7 minutes into their second term. Cross unable to gather it cleanly and allows Sydney to go forward. Langdon fumbles it. Jordan picks it off to McInerney. Gets it moving forward away towards Cootie. Now Rowbottom. Roses again. Make it 5. A handful. It's exactly what he's been. Melbourne's defence can't handle him.
Tom Papley loves these situations. 35 out on the boundary. Watch for the celebration if he slots this. That he does. And he wheels away. Fingers pointing.
Going with the snap, off a step, straight through the middle. Mark down a third for Joel Amarty.
The AFL on ABC Sport.
On radio.
ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And ABC Listen.
Sydney by 22 points at the main break as they come back out onto the ground. Not with a heap of energy, it must be said. They're kind of like Brown's cows at the moment. The Sydney Swans just milling about on the middle of the SCG as we await Melbourne to make their way back out as well. Been a big day here at the Sydney Cricket Ground as well. Sydney Sweeney in attendance. The Swans 10-8-68 leading Melbourne 7-4-46. Ben Cameron alongside Daniel Garb calling the action. Ryan O'Keefe, the Norm Smith medalist. Joel Papfel, the 200 gamer, and Declan Byrne downstairs as well. Lots of texts coming through. Pete in Ballarat is wondering why the yellow footballs. Any game that starts after 3 p.m. I was going to say 3:15, but 3 p.m. Yellow balls. Before that, the red footies are in effect. We have been chatting a lot today about the matchup between Max Gawn and Brodie Grundy. We haven't seen a lot of it, unfortunately, with an early injury to Brodie Myercheck that has seen Max Gawn spending a lot of time forward. Sydney Swans in this second half, it'll be fascinating to see how much they can put the foot down here. It did feel like in that second quarter the game certainly, Joel, swung the way of the Sydney Swans, and they were winning that arm wrestle almost entirely in the second term.
Yeah, you're right. They got their game going, didn't they? That overlap run, and they were coming through the middle of the ground a lot more, which they'd be happy with. So, I mean, the Demons are going to have to, switch that zone up, be a bit more accountable like what we talked about. But, I mean, the game's on Sydney's terms, and some of their big hitters are getting involved now as well. They've got Warner coming through the middle. He's been great. Forward to centre. Heaney's getting a bit more of the footy, and they'll be up for a big third quarter here.
Yeah, definitely. And we spoke about the running power and the frenetic pace that the Swans go at. And they'll keep going until the down wall breaks. So just, look, Melbourne need to sort of, I reckon, tighten up and go back to that pressure they provided in that first quarter and not give so much space to the Sydney runners. And hopefully they can, bring this game in a bit tighter.
Well, and it looked close. The damn wall looked like it was close to being broken in that towards the end of that second quarter. So if the Swans can start with that same intensity, that same ball use, I reckon the Demons are going to be up against it. So it's on the Swans' terms.
Just before this second half does get underway, Sydney by 22 points. Can we just break down your, I would say hobby, but hobby's not the right word, Brian. You are, nigh on if not a professional cyclist at the moment. How many hours a week are you on the bike riding, and how many Ks did you ride this morning?
I did 160 this morning.
Oh, 160?
That's all right. Yeah, I'll become a masters athlete. All those people that still think they're young, but yeah, they'll probably around.
So what's that, over 40?
Yeah, I'm in the 45. I'm in the 45 to 49 age group.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how many kilometres per week? And we're talking on the road bike?
Road bike, gravel bike. I've got the Gravel Nationals coming up in Adelaide end of May, so trying to get an Australian jersey there.
What will... Really?
Well, if you win it, you get the Australian jersey. Like, that's the winner.
Yeah. Wow. So you could be the 45 to 49 Australian national gravel champion.
Could, but from 40 onwards, it's a super competitive age group. There's a lot of ex-athletes, ex-professional cyclists. It's actually very, very hard.
So what does the Gravel Nationals look like? Like, is this a multi-stage event over...
No, it's one race. It's a one-day race, yeah. 105k at Ponderosa, Mount Crawford in Adelaide, 31st of May.
I think you should just go on an early breakaway and just back yourself to hold on.
Yeah, well, easy said than done.
Any international events that you can aim for?
I've got the World Champs. I qualified for World Champs, which is in Perth in October.
Amazing.
Be a good ride.
Good.
Just around the Swan River there, or
it's down south and Nulling up.
All right. Best of luck. I'm fascinated by it. I am a big cycling fan, as is Max Gawn, and Will Day has got into it as he recovers from his foot injury. Sydney 10.8.68, leading Melbourne 7.4.46. The Swans by 22. Second half about to get underway. You're with Daniel Garb.
Swans surging back to the top of the ladder. Can the D's stop them? In the second half of the SCG, Brodie Grundy in game 250, socks it off the ground, marked by Jordan. Quick handball to Warner, 52 out. It's the second effort that Chad Warner's missed today that you'd back him to convert, and that one misses everything, but fortunately for him it bounced just inside the boundary line, and we'll have a throw in left forward pocket for the Swans.
In it comes Gawn and Grundy again. Gawn goes to ground. Grundy misses it. Ball comes to the back. McInerney slaps it on. Papley, handball to Rowbottom. Handball to Heaney. Can't gather it. Handball to Wicks. Handball back to Rowbottom. He'll kick laterally and turn it over. In the required distance, so Jath darts away with it. Kicks laterally dangerously, but good enough to find a teammate there in Jake Lever. All of the Melbourne defenders are going with the short cropped hair. Lever moves it to Turner, who kicks it to Gawn. Still inside the defensive 50 here, the D's.
So Gawn assesses his options from the left back pocket. Holds the ball for a while and then kicks to a dangerous contest, but it was well guided to Petty. Took the mark and Windsor almost left it behind. He's got Swans all around him, so retreats to Petty. Again, the pressure from Sydney is superb. Well done by Heaney to keep it in somehow. And then handball over the top to Sarong. Now Warner 51 out. Windsor closes on him. Managed to switch it to a dangerous spot. Jath almost caught by Amadi. Got the handball free. McInerney wins it back though. Retreats to Jordan and now Melican. And he just pops it on the chest of Amadi. And Sydney are putting the clamps on in a big way, forcing the D's to turn it over. And Amadi will kick for his fourth from 35 out, slight angle to the left.
They were relentless there, the Swans, weren't they, with their pressure? The Demons held in there and actually turned it over a couple of times, but couldn't find their way outside of the back 50. And once again, Amadi leading up through that zone, getting on the end of it.
So the 20th goal of his season, Joel Amadi. He's having a stellar campaign. Doesn't convert his fourth, though. Swans lead by 23 points. 2 minutes gone in the third term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Here's Ben Cameron.
It's a second let off Swans. Warner and now Amadi could have put a couple of more nails in the coffin.
After Ryan O'Keefe.
Sorry, mate.
Petty with the kick in. Up the middle he goes. Fritsch flying in from the side, brings it down for Chandler, spins in the tackle and coughs it up. Sydney ball centre half forward. Heaney to the little road runner Papley, dribbles it around the corner. Amadi to McInerney. Goal! Sydney swarming. And they lead by a game high 29 points. 11-9-75, plays 7-4-46. 3 into the third. Joel Patfull and Ryan O'Keefe.
You asked about McInerney before, and what he does do, he does hit the scoreboard or get involved in score involvement. I think he's one of the highest in the competition in score involvement.
Second in the comp for average score involvement.
Yeah, so he's really, really dangerous going forward. So that's something that it's good, and I think he's taking his game to another level, and he's really probably I would have him there as that starting midfielder.
He's an all-Australian lock at the moment, Justin McInerney. He's the leading possession getter on the ground now with 18, 8 score involvements and a goal. He's been immense, especially in the absence of Errol Goulden. And the Swans now lead by 29 points, and they win it in the middle again through Rowbottom, up to Curnow. Turner right there with him again. There's Jordan roving it. Little snap. Sits up for Amadi, but then goes over his head. Boundary throw in right forward pocket, down to Declan Byrne.
Just a watch on Cozzy Pickett, who started on the bench. I'm not sure why he's starting Cozzy Pickett on the bench after half-time. He had 9 touches through the first half. He's just getting his calves attended to, but not a good start from the centre bounce with Pickett on the pine.
And the concern here for the D's, this is starting to blow out a touch. Swans by 29 points. It's a free kick, though, to Max Gawn, inside defensive 50 for Melbourne.
The other one is starting to get off the chain, or not off the chain, is Heaney starting to get a lot of those really strong contested wins.
Gawn thumps it out towards the wing. Roberts always in best position. Comes down with the footy. Sydney go forward again. Away to Lloyd. Pokes it into the pocket. Low down. Papley can't trap it. Snaps towards full forward. Bouncing ball for Gawn. Bounces off his chest. Curnow takes it. Rushes his snap and misses. Across the goal mouth, and Big Max, he looked all of the 209 centimetres there trying to get down for that ground ball.
Is a tough ask, isn't it, the ruckman ground ball inside the goal square, but he did okay. So, talking about people on the bench, Rose has started on the bench after kicking 5 in the first half, and starting on the bench is interesting.
Ball strip straight down the corridor off the hands of Grundy. The D's have forced it over halfway for the first time this quarter, and it sets up nicely for Heath. A one-on-one with Edwards. Edwards kept his feet importantly, but Heath wanted it ground level. Had support from Van Rooyen. He couldn't get the handball away cleanly, and the Swans win it back through Wicks, Heaney, and now Melican, who has turned it over. Here's a chance for the D's. The shot from distance for Sparrow misses to the right. Melican coughed it up. D's failed to make them pay. And the margin back to 29 points now in favour of Sydney. Confidence is dropping a bit perhaps for Lewis Melican. He's been in and out of the team. Maybe seems a little bit unsure of himself at the minute.
Blakey short to Mills, who gives it to Sarong. Kick partially smothered. Max Gawn says, I'll show you. Picks up the ground ball clean and then delivers inside 50. That was immaculate from Big Max. And Fritsch on the end of it, 40 metres out. Worse than a 45-degree angle.
We haven't seen much of Fritz today at all, really. He's one of those forwards for Melbourne that is usually quite dynamic and providing a lot of options and has, generally a few shots on goal, but this might be his first shot on goal, isn't it?
It is. Only his 6th disposal coming up. Trots in the long sleeves. His set shot is across the face. Just across the goal mouth and through for a minor score. 11-10, 76 plays, 7-6, 48. Sydney by 28 points.
Blakey with a bounce. Latrell Pickett closes on him. He sends it up to the wing. Lever with the big leap. Happy to send that into row 3 of the Bill O'Reilly stand. Throw in on the outer side. The shadows have now extended all the way through the SCG. And the Navo game has turned into a twilight encounter.
What a genuine Sunday night game tonight too. True Sunday nighter, GWS and the Gold Coast Suns up there on the glitter strip.
In the Expansion Cup. Braun and Grundy side by side. Rowbottom well tackled by Pickett. He's win it back here. Gawn, handball over the top to Sparrow. It's to a 2-on-1 in favour of Sydney though. Edwards knocks it down and then good recovery work to tackle Latrell Pickett. He's win it back though. Converge on him though the Swans. Rowbottom and Mills, a couple of tough customers, and then Heaney emerges with it.
Knocked on by Lloyd, and then Blakey cuts a sway through them, runs through the logo. Has nothing he likes, has to wait for support. Handball to Lloyd, kick infield for Heaney, attacking point of the square. Knocked over by Cozzy. Heaney was lambasting the umpire, wanted 50. Now kicks inside the attacking arc, and Kerner brings it down, wins it himself, exits for the D's, up to the wing, and Sparrow, plenty of room on that O'Reilly stand wing.
So he has a couple of bounces, and a third, Tom Sparrow. Maybe took one too many because they closed on him. High ball inside 50, Grundy back there, Gawn with him as well. A chance for the D's, but Edwards once more gathers it. Having an excellent game, got it to Wicks. And he moved it on to Sarong in the right back pocket. Crisis averted for Sydney. Sarong happy to switch it, and it's marked by Rampy.
Rampy just steadies for a moment, spots up Mills. Mills rifles the forward handball to Melican, who gives it back to Mills. Mills short kick, not the required distance. Blakey flicks it on, doesn't find Mills, allows him the D's. Cozzy Pickett buzzing through, tackled quickly. James Jordan inside his shorts as he lays the tackle right there with him. He's the man they call the padlock. Sydney by 28 points, 9 minutes into the third.
Grundy just palmed it down, tried to get the kick away. Didn't quite connect. Picked up by Blakey though. Here's McInerney, and here they go. Got it to Heaney. Burst through a tackle. Handball free to Lloyd. Throws it on the boot. McDonald one-on-one, top of the square. Well done by Petty. No free kick. There's a whistle on the play. Petty top one high, in fact. Did well to win that contest. And he'll take the free kick from his defensive goal square. Swans by 28 points. Petty will go short and chip it to Howes in the left back pocket.
Howes looks up the line. That's where he heads now, in the Langford direction. In front of him, fighting after it, Sarong knocks it down and out of play.
He's slotted into the team well, Sarong, hasn't he? He's just looked like he's been here for a few years. So he's been another great addition.
Well, they've been able to play him on the wing, which nobody expected. And they found another avenue in terms of their midfield and pushing forward through him as a result.
Vaughan and Grundy again, neither decisive. Out the back, McInerney just hacks it on up to half forward. Jath goes in with a hand. Papley, clean. Polly Farmer sweeping handball. Row bottom, centering kick is good, nearly for Logan McDonald. Petty does well to break it up, but the Swans arrive. Curnow picks it up and whacks it through. Curnow on the board, his first. Sydney by 34. It is one-way traffic. 12:10:82 plays 7:6:48. Ryan O'Keefe and Joel Papful.
Yeah, it's starting to get a little bit out of control here for the D's. One thing I'm going to say about James Rowbottom, he does not want to have a shot on goal. It's like he's the most unselfish player out there. He's had many opportunities to get in great positions to have shots and doesn't do it, which I think is actually harming the way they're scoring. But I think he's on the board now, Charlie. We've been talking about him all game, but it's probably not the way he thought he'd get his first goal. But it's just, the avalanche of the Swans just keep pressing. And I think Melbourne's defenders have been really, really good. But it comes to a point when there's that much ball going down there, it's just too hard to stop everything.
Isaac Heaney with 8 touches in 11 minutes of this third term. Now 22 for the game. And the Swans win it again. Blakey to Grundy. Quick hands. Finds McInerney. Pickett closes on him. Potentially holding the ball. Pushing the back from the umpire. Well, that's a bit harsh.
That is ridiculous.
He closed rapidly. Didn't quite execute the tackle. Oh, he got him in the backside, if anything.
So what?
There wasn't much force. That's harsh. McInerney, though, will have the free kick. He handballs it off to Blakey from 55. He strikes it. And it's across the face. So not quite the full punishment for Melbourne, which would have been a little bit unfair. Swans lead, though, is 35 points.
Gawn looks
12-11-83, Melbourne 7-6-48.
Gawn looks a bit gingery there coming off. Is that something or just a rest?
Declan Byrne.
Doctor ran out to him. He is definitely ginger. I'll just keep an eye on it and keep you updated.
Short kick in from Tolstrup.
This is where they need a plan here, the Demons. They're under the pump. It's turned into a very free-flowing game, and the Swans are running on top, so they need to slow it down, get their system that we talked about pre-game, try and work it out, get it down the other end.
The kick from Windsor up towards the logo. Just being informed that there was an accidental knee to the face from Brady Grundy to Max Gawn that might be the issue. Sarong just forward of the logo, cuffs it up with a handball. Cozzy Pickett emerges with it. Long sleeves on now for this second half. Kicks up to Jefferson through the hands of the defender. Jefferson has it, kicks inside 50. Fritsch, nearly took the mark, lost it at ground level, not paid. Play goes on, ends up in the hands of Laurie, outside of the boot. Nice finish. Some life for Melbourne. Sydney's lead back to 29 points. 12-11-83, plays 8-6-54-13 into the third. Declan Byrne before Ryan O'Keefe and Joel Papful.
Yeah, so an accidental knock to Gawn's mouth. The physio had a good look at it. They were spraying some water in there. Looks like he would be good to come back on. He's just catching his breath.
Oh, the spray of the water fixes everything, doesn't it?
Well, they needed that one, the Demons, didn't they? They're probably stiff that Fritsch wasn't paid the mark inside 50. Got the crumb and kicked a goal, but I talked about it before. It's starting to get away from them a little bit. They just need to close the game down a little bit, and it's turning into a bit of a shootout. And I don't think Melbourne are going to beat Sydney in a shootout. They need to go back to how they're playing in that first quarter, close Sydney's space, not let that midfield run right. I mean, he need to have 8 touches in 10 minutes. You can't expect to win a game of footy like that, and when they're damaging going forward as well.
And if you've got no real system of how you're moving the ball, we'll just do what you think best against a really strong pressure defensive side. You need some bailouts for your players.
Nice goal from Bailey Laurie, and that's a clever tap from Heath to Windsor for 2 in a row for the D's. Windsor from 52. This is narrowly to the right. Well, that would have been really handy just to give them a little bit of belief.
I like him. He moves really, really well.
He's a first-round draft pick, a big talent for the D's. One of several really exciting youngsters they've got. Melican up to the wing. Good mark, McDonald.
McDonald taking the mark, looks immediately infield. Now called to play on. Forward handball to Wicks. He cuts around Laurie. Kicks deep towards full forward. Up goes Curnow, hands to it. Not quite, been that kind of day. Langdon cleans up for the D's, off the Turner to Chandler. Exiting kick, bounces beyond the 50, tumbles out. Free kick, Sydney. Blakey rushes over there and says, I'll have it.
He started in the centre bounce, Blakey.
Looking inside a congested 50 now. Awaits his kick over Shootini, and at the back, the mark taken by Lever, fullback for the D's. Sydney by 28 points.
Turner tries to move it quickly and does. Finds Langford. He's been a little bit quiet, just his 9th disposal. Another first-round draft pick for Melbourne. Goes inboard to Langdon. Jath's running off him. Kicks to Cozzy Pickett, but he kicks out of bounds on the full. Sydney forcing the turnover with their pressure. Jordan riding Cozzy Pickett to every contest. Takes the free kick. Short to Sheldrick. Bice runs off him. Gives it back to Sheldrick now. Chips one. Looking for Cootie. And finds him. Mark in front of Chandler. Game number 2 for Billy Cootie. Mature age South Australian. Heaney got all over Joel Amati. Didn't take the mark. Rode his old teammate. Here's Roses for number 6. Decides to handball instead. Curnow, top of the goal square. Sockers off the ground. Hits the behind post, so that's out of bounds on the full. Free kick D's right back pocket. Swans by 28 points. 16 and a half gone in the third term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
But he's not South Australian. He's a Western Suburbs Melbourne boy. Western Jets Garbs, Billy Cootie.
Fair enough, but he did make his name through the sound.
He went to Sandford. He's actually a gun cricketer too. As a junior, played Australian under 17s.
Wow. Lever with the long kick up towards the wing, spills off hands, nearly back inside 50, and Langdon kicks back towards the back pocket for Lever. Jordan Clark of the Dockers, I think, played under 17s for Australia. Took a hat-trick against Pakistan, playing for Australia in under 17s as well. As Lever kicks to a contest on the wing. Owen with a clean disposal. Bice sockers it backwards. Rampy has to backtrack. It's centre half back here, Sydney. Feeds a handball to Logan McDonald. Working back into defence, and then he laces out Warner with room to run.
And that's danger for Melbourne. Warner's kick isn't great. Sits up though for Sheldrick. 40 out. Almost caught. Found some space. Got it to Lloyd. And he slots it from straight in front. Sydney back out to that 6-goal break. 34 points up. 13-11-89. Melbourne 8-7-55. And a 2-time Bob Skilton medalist in Jake Lloyd as his first of the afternoon.
I think the dam wall's broken. I think it's getting very ugly for Melbourne. I think the Swans now they've broken them. Now they're just going to run and run harder. When you know your team's up and about, now everyone wants to get a lick of the ice cream here. So, well, I think Melbourne need to start winning some of that contested ball and start slowing it down a bit. As you said before, Joel. Swans, if they want to shoot out, they go perfect. You're just would play at our speed and we'll just go at it.
It suits their style, doesn't it? They're better on the outside and their skills are better, so they're going to break them down eventually. But it's almost like a bit of glorified circle work when they get the ball sometimes, isn't they? Cutting their way through and finding those targets inside 50. And it's not just the contested possession, it's just making the tackle, forcing the stoppage and getting it back on your terms.
Heath down for Sparrow. Melbourne with the clearance. Fritsch can't contest the mark, and Sydney there through Rampy to work it out. Handball to Mills. Handball to Rowbottom on the wing. Windsor worries him out of it. They scrap after it. No one emerges with the football. Declan Byrne.
Max Gawn back out there, by the way. There's some sort of irony. Him and Grundy ran on at the same time. Gawn ran to full forward. They used to play together, and it was Grundy who had to run to full forward when Gawn was rucking.
There is irony in that. A bit of Alanis Morissette as Brody Grundy ends up with the free kick here against Max Heath. Sydney ball. He just play ringer Rosie with some handballs.
Rowbottom lost his boot. Handballed it and then picked up the footwear. They get it to Edwards. Left half back, moves it forward. And it's a nice contest there by Cross. Opposed to Roberts, and we'll have a boundary throw in. Left half forward for Sydney. The lead by 34 points. They're sending another warning across the competition, the Swans. Melbourne started well, but they've been electric since. Plenty left in this game. Looking very strong at the moment as Cozzy Pickett socks it away from the contest to his cousin Latrell. Takes a nice mark, gives it straight back to Cozzy. Now they get some run the D's. Here's the kick forward from Jefferson, and it lands in the chest of Gawn. Watch that like a fielder in the outfield here at the SCG, Max Gawn. Took the mark opposed to Edwards, and he can kick for his second from 40 metres out, tight angle to the right. In a different day for the Melbourne great, 8-time All-Australian. They lost Brodie Myercheck early, so they sent him forward. Max Heath's done a lot of the ruck work and done it well. And this is a much-needed one for Melbourne. The skipper strikes it now and slots it. He is just an ornament to the game, Max Gawn. He's got two. And he brings it back to a 28-point margin in favour of Sydney.
He's a beautiful set shot. He's actually pretty accurate for a big ruckman going forward. Like, he doesn't miss too much. It's quite a neat goal-kicking style, and generally goes back and slots them. So, yeah, he has definitely spent a lot more time forward than we probably would have thought at the start of the game.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Does it take away from their centre bounce work and their clearance around the ground and to put Gawn up forward since Myercheck's gone off? Heath has been okay in the middle, but it does feel like they've lost a bit through the centre now that Gawn spent so much time down forward.
Yeah, Sydney are just on top of clearances at the moment. But the big thing is the discrepancy in the amount of ball that Sydney have. It's nearly 70 more possessions they've got than Melbourne. If you're not getting your hands on it, it's hard to do much and score, really, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Langdon's the leading possession getter for Melbourne with 15, and there are 7 Swans who have more touches than him.
Rosas at centre half forward. High up and under inside 50, and Marty launching at it off his hands. Petty gathers for Melbourne, gives it off to Tolstrup. Clearing kick back into the middle of the SCG. Bouncing ball. Jefferson's handball to Cozzy Pickett, who takes off with it. Handball for Cross through the logo. Kicks towards Sharp. He's brought down right on the attacking edge of the square. No 50 for Rampy. Given away by Rampy. So Sharp slow to get back to his feet. Gawn offers a lead into the pocket. Chopped off by Roberts. Drops the mark though. Latrell Pickett onto it. Stripped of it. Goes again. Caught Wicks. Strips him of it. Sydney on the last line.
The 1-2 with Grundy, but that's a dangerous kick by Wicks. It suits Melbourne, but the bounce just favoured Roses a touch in the end. Now Warner bounced off Pickett with strength. Turns it over though in the middle of the SCG. Here's Langdon. These just starting to get a little bit of ascendancy back in the last couple of minutes. 22 and a half gone in the third term. Langdon goes long. Gawn the target. Could have taken that. Had the hands outstretched. Had front position. Couldn't quite grasp it. Locked up. Ball up. Inside attacking 50 for the D's.
Not many bounce off a Cozzy Pickett tackle.
But again, what stops Warner from being the top midfielder is his disposal by foot.
Sparrow coming through the contest, gathers snaps and goals. Melbourne hanging tough. Back to 22 points. 13-11-89 plays 10-7-67. 23 travelled in the third. Joel Patfull, Ryan O'Keefe.
Well, they're hanging in, aren't they?
Yeah,
hasn't been pretty, but it's probably off the back of a bit of that. We talked about the Cozzy Pickett tackle, like a bit more physicality around the ball, and they haven't allowed Sydney to just cut through, create that overlap run. So they've been able to stop him and get the ball going back the other way. They make, a stoppage inside 50 there, make something out of nothing, get a goal, 20 points, and they're still hanging around.
He's gone to a new level this season, Tom Sparrow. Petrarca and Oliver have obviously departed. Steele's come in, but Sparrow's the other one who's been given a lot more midfield time, and he's taken the chance.
Well, opportunity. The others were getting in the way and giving him the opportunity, and he's taken it with both hands. It's great to see.
That was a good goal. 22 points now, the Sydney lead. Grundy looks for Heaney off the tap. Got it to McInerney instead. Handball forward to Warner. Just keeps his feet again. So much strength, so much agility. Moves it forward to Sheldrick. Can he get it to Heaney? Good pressure on him. Heaney with 4 Ds around him. Still manages to tap it forward. Now Jath under pressure. Amati with him. Still the ball spills free. Heaney to Langford. Now it falls the way of Sydney. Papley with the snap. Eventually forced through for a rush behind. It just kept going there, the Swans. So much force on the footy. 23 points they lead by now. 25 gone in the third term.
The strength Heaney has. He has players hanging over, and his ability to still keep his feet, get his hands on the ball and get a disposal off. He's an absolute beast.
Tolstrup with the kick into the pocket. Disco Turner. He'll kick to a contest on the wing. They'll come from all angles. Van Rooyen at the front of the pack. Brings it down to ground level. Langford coming through. Nowhere to go. Ball up coming. A very quirky one coming up at three-quarter time ahead of the Gold Coast GWS match. Grundy slapping it on from the ball up on the wing. Warner ends up with it. Capped on by Papley, but the D's are there. Latrell Pickett. His handball goes back into congestion. Grundy with the footy off to McInerney, who misses left. Leaves one out there. Sydney's lead, 24 points. 13-13-91 plays 10-7-67. 25 played in this third term.
A lot more time than he thought there, McInerney. Could have taken another 5 metres and slotted that. The D's go down the corridor.
They like that play.
Over the head of Gawn. Van Rooyen there. Taps it forward 3 times now. Inside 50. Mills back sweeping for the Swans. Got it to Sarong. Out now to Bice. They'll play on quickly. In the outer wing. Roberts. Looks for McInerney. Kept his feet. Maybe infringed on Sparrow. And eventually he slips over. Jaff to Chandler. A lot of tired bodies now waiting for the three-quarter time siren. Here's Langdon. Will pump it long to half forward. Out to meet it Van Rooyen. Good hand in from Rampy on that contest. And then repeats the effort. Gets it off Wicks. Inside 50. Warner couldn't mark. Back there is Holstrup. Looks for Lever. Amadi closes on him. Jath in support. Gets it wide to Langdon.
Who fumbles. Warner worries him out of it. Gets up with the footy in the forward pocket here for Sydney. Off to Amadi. Sweeps a handball infield. Capped away by Heath. Cleverly to Tolstrup. He'll just clear the danger now for Melbourne. Back out of their defensive 50. Heaney burrows in. Somehow gets to his feet. Gets it on the boot. And that is brilliant. Isaac Heaney at his best. Outworked them. Got to his feet. Showed them his skill. And Sheldrick, he marks 30 out. 45-degree angle. Right side for a left footer.
That's just relentless pressure. But look at the strength on Heaney. On the ground, gets up, says, no, I'm not accepting that, and then laces it out. He's a star. Absolute star.
Sheldrick trots in, kicks on goal, and hits the post. Started to celebrate, and it just nicked the inside of the post.
Is that 6 posts for the day?
I think it is. You've had a lot of them. Sydney by 25 points, 27 minutes into this third term.
He's now in the discussion for the best player in the comp. That's arrived.
Him in the Bont.
And Dacos, of course. He's in the middle of the ground. Melican up there. We're speaking of Isaac Heaney, of course. He's certainly now rated in that company. And here he is again. Gets around Gawn. Handball to Bice. Now Jordan. Sparrow was right there. Not sure that was the right decision from Bice. Sparrow with a good tackle on Jordan. Ball up centre half forward.
Melbourne are locking that one straight down the seam for the kickouts. They've done that a few times.
But the Swans' defence is too good as well. They're too well structured. I was just thinking about Mills and Rampy organising that back six there have been unbelievable.
Swans by 25. 28 minutes gone in the third term. Pickett, the 1-2 with Laurie, and then lost the handle on it, Cozzy, but kept his feet. Well done by Warner to dive in front of him. Latrell comes in to help out. Gets it forward to Fritsch. Latrell again. Dance around Lloyd a couple of times. 40 out. Misses. Oh, a couple of moments for Latrell to light up the SCG, the almost hanger in the first term, and that would have been a special goal. Doesn't take the chance, but they keep coming, Melbourne. Sydney's lead now 24 points.
Mills with the kick in. Coming across late to break it up. Cross has to fight on at ground level, but Wicks can soccer it on. Up to the wing, gathered by Gawn at ground level. Handball away to Sparrow. Hospital handball tackled as soon as he gathered it. And a ball up between wing and half forward here for Melbourne. 29 minutes into the third term. Sydney by 24 points. Grundy hooking it down. Heaney tracking it. Back flank for Sydney. Handball to Grundy. Handball back infield. Rowbottom takes it. Langdon meets him, tackles him. Umpire crosses himself for a ball up.
Sydney 13-14, 92. Melbourne 10-8, 68. Grundy starting to assert his influence in his 250th game. Palm that down, but Jack Steele has been such a wonderful recruit for the D's. He's locked up, so we'll go again. Grundy with front position. Palms at the way of Rowbottom and Steele. Another strong tackle by Rowbottom. That's as tough a contest you can find in the AFL right now. Rowbottom and Steele. Boundary throw in outer side down to Declan Byrne.
To give you an idea of how little Gawn has rucked, so he's got 9 hit-outs once in the last 3 years as he had less than 20.
Grundy palming it down on his way through. Here's Cootie gathering the footy. Back feeding a handball away towards Jordan, who gives it off to Heaney. Beautiful kick to half forward for Sydney. Roberts ambles inside 50, goes whack on the left and misses. Left-hand side, missing narrow. Sydney by 25 points, 13-15, 93, plays 10-8, 68.
It's a crazy stat, that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, he's the number one ruckman in the comp going into this game, and he's spent half the game at full forward.
Nice lead by Jefferson. Didn't quite get purchase on the football. And Pickett is tackled by Blakey. Ball up just forward of centre. Swans by 25. Heaney with 12 disposals in this third term. Been brilliant. Grundy in front of Gawn. Sockers it away from the ruck contest. Picked up by Rowbottom at ground level. Got it to Blakey and now McInerney. Nice tackle on him by Bailey Laurie. And he rams McInerney into his own teammate and Sparrow. He now gets to his feet. Ball thrown up quickly. Again, Grundy dominating the ruck for the last 5 minutes. Knocks it forward, but the D's have gathered it. It's Howes. Handball over the top to Steele. Spins around and on the logo. Hits Sparrow. The kick inside 50. Looking for Pickett. Bites there with him. Over Pickett's head. Swans lead by 25 points at three-quarter time. It was threatening to get away from Melbourne at one stage, but the D's responded nicely to ensure they have a pulse as we head to the final change here at the SCG. Sydney 13-15, 93. Melbourne 10-8, 68.
The goal kickers, Roses with 5, 3 the way of Amati, then it's singles, Logan McDonald, Tom Papley, Justin McInerney, Charlie Curnow and Jake Lloyd, while for Melbourne, 2 the way of Sharp, 2 the way of Gawn, and then singles, Van Rooyen, Windsor, Laurie, Jefferson, Heath and Sparrow. So just on that ruck battle, 37 ruck contests between Grundy and Gawn, 72 total in the game. So pretty much only half of the game we've got those two going at it, which that was the build event coming into today. It was meant to be about Grundy v Gawn, and we've only seen it about half of the time throughout the match. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
Get your documentary fix on ABC iView.
We have an industry that is just running riot.
Like Sean McAuliffe's Going for Broke.
Last spin, come on.
Todd Sampson's Why.
The best things in life are on the other side of fear.
And more. Streaming now on ABC iView.
This is the 2026 AFL Premiership season with ABC Sport.
Eddie with the kick in. Up the middle he goes. Fritsch flying in from the side, brings it down for Chandler, spins in the tackle and coughs it up. Sydney ball centre half forward. Heaney to the little road runner Papley, dribbles it around the corner. Amati to McInerney. Goal! Sydney swarming and they lead by a game high 29 points. Gawn and Grundy again, neither decisive. Out the back, McInerney just hacks it on up to half forward. Jath goes in with a hand. Papley, clean. Polly Farmer sweeping handball. Rowbottom, centering kick is good, nearly for Logan McDonald. Petty does well to break it up, but the Swans arrive. Curnow picks it up and whacks it through. Jefferson has it, kicks inside 50. Fritsch, nearly took the mark, lost it at ground level, not paid. Play goes on. Ends up in the hands of Laurie, outside of the boot. Nice finish. Some life for Melbourne.
Warner's kick isn't great. Sits up though for Sheldrick. 40 out. Almost caught. Found some space. Got it to Lloyd. And he slots it from straight in front.
Sparrow coming through the contest, gathers snaps and goals. Melbourne hanging tough. Back to 22 points.
The AFL on ABC Sport.
On radio.
ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And ABC Listen.
Sydney by 25 points at the final change. We have a true Sunday night game later on this evening, and of course coverage of that following this game from 6:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. And a bizarre story in the lead up to this match, which I'm sure Quentin Hull is all over. Q.
Can confirm, Ben, as I look 2 boxes to my right, which is the home coaches box here at Carrara. We're very close at hand. There is only half of the regular glass in that box. Well, make it a third. In fact, they've got a bit of a broader box than ours. So one of the 3 panes got broken as the host TV was setting up. And apparently because of the angle of the way things work here, they had to use sort of 4 men to control a 200-kilogram pane of glass sort of dropping down to the lower level. Obviously, there were no fans around. But yes, just as well, it is a gorgeous night here on the Gold Coast for Suns v Giants, because there's going to be a little natural element coming into Damien Hardwick's box for the Suns, who will be without Jared Witts tonight by choice, which is interesting. He's been rested with Ned Moyle playing, which is interesting because Kieran Briggs is coming back into this Greater Western Sydney team, who have won 2 of their last 3, but of course behind the count with 3 wins, 4 losses. And then the Suns, well, after they started the season so well, their form's been ordinary of recent times, going down to the Hawks by 49 points in Launceston on Anzac Day. So they're 4-3. And Matt Rowell's not going to be playing again. He's had an in and out season with a few different injuries. At the moment, it's an ankle problem for him, so he's not going to be playing. And look, as Garby would know, and those in that part of the world in Sydney, the Giants just own the Suns. They've won 15 of the last 16 in the Expansion Cup. The Giants have won the last 6. So, yeah, extended time in this round 8 all the way through Sunday evening, and big stakes between teams 17 and 18 to enter the competition.
Thank you, Quentin. The update there, or the preview before the Expansion Cup, if we can call it that. Back here at the SCG, Ryan O'Keefe and Joel Pavful to pick it all apart with the Swans leading by 25 points.
Well, the Swans are just dominating the possession. They're like 72 more possessions than Melbourne. They're about 14 more inside 50. So if they're a lot more accurate, the scoreboard, I think the scoreboard's flattering a little bit. I think they've been well more dominant than what the scoreboard is showing. So that's just probably one thing. And we did say they're going to be relentless and go how long Melbourne can hang on. And they showed some signs of being a bit gritty there and coming back. But yeah, I just think the Swans, if they get a bit more accurate, this could be blowout very, very quickly.
They did show signs, a bit more physicality as well. The first 10 minutes, they dropped that right off and the Swans ran straight through them. But a few big tackles, a few of their leaders stood up a little bit. Jake Leave had a couple of big spoils and got the ball going back the other way. So they're still hanging around and they're having a bit of a crack. But, the Swans were just dynamic, weren't they, the way they're moving the footy and looking really dangerous. So they just need to keep up that pressure, keep the ball in tight. Once the ball gets outside, they're looking like they're in a bit of trouble. But I hate to say, it's what we talked about before the game. They still look like they're running forward without a plan. Their ball movement is a bit all over the place, and it doesn't look like they're on the same page moving forward at times, which isn't helping them as well.
No, that doesn't stand up to good defensive teams.
Final quarter underway. Grundy and Heath. Heath reaches over the top of him, gives it out to Cozzy Pickett. Left foot kick inside 50 for the D's. Sliding out low down, very nearly Jefferson. Not paid the mark. Sydney through Blakey. End up with the footy. Spills out though. Cozzy Pickett sweats on it and goals it. Oh well. Hold the phone. Melbourne are in this game. It is back to 19 points. 13-15-93, plays 11-8-74. Less than a minute into the final term.
That's the start you want, don't you, from the D's? And Cozzy's stood up to the plate and gone, all right, let's go, come on. So that's fantastic to see. So yeah, game on a bit here. The Swans are going to have to not just sort of rest on their laurels.
Well, that's exactly what they need. But once again, it's very much run and gun, isn't it? It's like all or nothing, offensive, running forward, and it worked that time. It's just when it doesn't, you got to set up, get going again. But if you can keep doing it, it works.
kicked the last 3 goals in the game all of a sudden here, Melbourne.
And Cozzy's just kept going. 16 disposals, now 7 score involvements. That's a very big goal. So Jordan hasn't clamped him down, that's for sure. Here's Warner. Palming off a D, getting it back to Bice, who throws it on the boot. Sydney need to respond now. This will get really nervy. Bouncing ball between Cross and Sarong. Sarong happy to take it over. Boundary throw in. Under the Bill O'Reilly stand, down to Declan Byrne.
They're doing it at the moment also without Max Gawn. We know how much of a fourth quarter specialist he is. He has started on the bench for this final term.
There must be something not quite right with him. He's played little ruck minutes and now he's obviously on the bench.
So Heath jostling with Grundy there. He's done really well. Grundy won the tap. Moved to forward about 5 metres. A bit of a concern around Max Gawn. They play West Coast at home next week, so if they do want to rest him, there's an opportunity perhaps. Grundy, front position. Over to the on-rushing Heaney. Kick towards McDonald. Petty there with him. Hapley taps it to Warner. Warner will find some space. Chip it across, attacking 50. Didn't hit a target though. Lever's soccering effort didn't connect. Langford happy to take it over. Boundary throw in just inside attacking 50, left half forward.
He just needs to pull those kicks out of his game, Chad Warner. He does them all the time. They're horrible. I don't know what it is. Surely the coaches are saying, stop doing that. It does it all the time and then turns it over.
From the throw-in, both rucks go to ground. Holding free kick. Grundy's way.
Oh. No one knew there. Look, everyone's not quite sure. We're not sure up here.
Is it going? Oh, I thought for a moment they were going to pay 50. Even the crowd didn't know. They didn't cheer or appeal. Well, maybe it is there in the end.
No.
Is it a block though? Because neither of them got to the bowl, so he stopped him from getting to the bowl. It's like, it's 50-50, isn't it? Who knows?
Melbourne fans will say that's a gift on your milestone day.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brodie Grundy's family watching on. Looking for a goal in game 250. His drop punt is right through the middle. Brodie Grundy salutes in game 250. And he's engulfed by red and white. Sydney back out by 25 points, 14-15-99. Plays 11-8-74, 4 minutes into the final term.
He has had a great game. He has definitely dominated out there. It's been good to see, and his form's been red hot all year. And probably ever since he's come to Sydney, his form's been really, really good. He's very consistent, and arguably now he's one of the most important players here at the Swans.
He enjoyed that, didn't he? Not the most expressive character, but that was a big run and leap in the air to celebrate that one. Family watching with Grundy 250 shirts on as well. Importantly for the Swans, back out to a 25-point lead. Henny, strong tackle on Heath. And then Rowbottom follows up. To lock it in the centre circles of the SCG. Another ball up. 22 touches, 10 score involvements, and now a goal. The milestone man in Brodie Grundy. Cross was met solidly. He's win it in the middle of the ground, up to centre half forward, over the head of Jefferson and Melican. Nice tackle on Fritsch, but he manages to get it free to Jefferson. And now they've got some space, the D's. It's with Sharp for his third, decides to centre it instead. Van Rooyen makes the contest, gathers it at ground level, got it to Laurie. Chandler should goal and does. Well done, Melbourne. Found Chandler in space, slotted it on his left, and they respond straight away. Back to 19 points in favour of the Swans.
Still hanging around.
Yeah, good hustle there.
Good hustle. And Sharp from the boundary. It was a good centering bowl. Could have blazed away a goal. He's been great today and much improved this year. One of the most improved players in the AFL statistically, Harry Sharp. So added something to that Melbourne forward line. But 19 points and they're hanging around. Van Rooyen's been quiet but created the contest there and fed it out to Chandler who got the goal. So still some positive signs out there.
This is what we have seen from Melbourne under Stephen King. They do hang tough. Like they tend to just keep coming at you.
And that's what you want to see. Though, if you're a supporter, you just want to see your team just have a go. Regardless of the result, as long as they give effort and intensity for every game they play. That's all you want to see.
19 points. Heath taps it down and Cozzy Pickett paddles to his own advantage. Still going Cozzy. Heaney's trying to worry him off the footy. Windsor comes to support. Handball inside 50. Windsor gets it back. Jams it on the boot. Ricochets back towards Windsor. Leaves it behind. Knocks it out of Mills' hands. Ball jars free. Langford on the boot. Pulls it too far and out of bounds on the full. In the left back pocket for Sydney. Melbourne are pressing. Sydney by 19 points. 6.5 minutes into the fourth.
Party mode has subsided here in a big way at the SCG. Heaney! Isaac Heaney with a stunner in front of the Swans faithful. But all over the top of Sparrow and hauled it down. That is a specky. And they keep moving at the Swans. Jordan to Papley to finish it off. Just puts it on top of McDonald. And he should take the mark. But they go to Isaac Heaney because that was a special moment for the Swans faithful.
Sparrow just put his arms up there and he's just, what do you do? What can you actually do for that?
And Charlie Curnow exited the forward 50. He got a possession up on the wing.
Here's McDonald. The run around and snap this from 10 out. No dramas for him. He's got 2. Swans back out to a 25-point mark, but everyone will turn to the big screen and take in that Isaac Heaney grab again. Down quickly to Declan Byrne.
He got up hobbling too, so he's done that with his bad left ankle. That's how good he is.
29 touches, 8 score involvements, 14 of those contested for Isaac Heaney.
Waiting for the replay. Bring it up.
Well, he's been pretty dangerous, hasn't he? The second half especially, he's really got on the end of it. That's what you need your gun players to do, step up.
Here we go.
As we watch it on the big screen. Didn't get a huge ride. Still pretty impressive, though.
Oh, it's not that high.
Barely got off the ground.
I know.
He's almost jumped over him.
I'll take back some of that mayo I might have put in.
That's all right, Cubs.
Grundy down for Heaney here. Back feeds it to McInerney. Clearance for Sydney inside 50. Getting back. The mark taken by Howes. The kicks for Gawn. Offensive edge of the square. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Gives it off to Cozzy Pickett. Outside of the boot. Slices the kick away towards Sharp. 50 out. Sharp just wheels and goes. Likes the look of it. Ooh. And just misses to the right. Sydney by 4 goals neat. 9 minutes travelled. Final term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Well, they're not giving up these. Cozzy Pickett, I saw it 3/4 time. Stephen King was having a one-on-one chat to him. So whatever he said, it's lit a fire under him, and now he's starting to really push for his team.
Swans in space, get it to Warner, and now McDonald inside attacking 50. Petty's there, but they've turned it over. Roses for 6.
Oh.
6 of the best for Malcolm Roses Jr. He's beaten his PB by 2. He kicked 5 in the first half, none in the third term. And now he's got his 6 on the board. Sydney 16-15, 111. Melbourne 12-9, 81. And he has been the game breaker. He set it up for them early. Still work to do, but they lead by 30 points.
Yeah, he has. There's not many times a small forward will kick 6 goals, so it's definitely a great effort. And he's just done the basic things well. Once again, gets to the contest. Bit of a random bit of play inside 50, but contested ball, spins out of trouble, and that's why he's so dangerous. It wasn't a gimme goal, it wasn't a certain goal, but he finds something and makes it out of nothing, and he's done that a few times today.
Gawn in the ruck, leaping over Grundy, slaps it down towards Cozzy Pickett. Jack Steele fighting after it, and a high tackle. A free kick going the way of the Swans in the middle. Langdon slow to get up off James Jordan, premiership teammate of his. Sydney by 30 points. Jordan drives it deep for Sydney. Up they go, Amati through his hands. Logan McDonald at the back. Swivels, snaps, goals. 17-15, 117. Plays 12-9, 81. 3 for McDonald. And that lead is quickly back out to 6 goals and a new game high of 36 points.
He's been good, McDonald. He's worked and worked and worked, and even just that last goal that Rosa scored was off the back of his contest. From what I hear, he's just, he's real professional and trains, and he's missed a lot of footing to come back and see him just compete. So, all I can see is an upside for him getting better and better as the season gets longer.
Missed all of last season through injury. I mean, he's a number 4 draft pick, so I think a lot of people expected him to be a superstar key forward here at Sydney, but he's playing his role now, isn't he, and doing it effectively.
Well, the three dynamic key forwards they got there, so you're not going to find too many defences. They're going to have 3 key backs that can match all 3.
Swans by 36 points. Free kick, though, to Gawn. Grundy darts back to try and clog up some space. Gawn goes short to Steele. Kicks to a contest favouring Chandler. Used his body well. Edwards with a don't argue on Van Rooyen. Swans fans like that, but he's missed his mark with a handball. Melbourne win it back. Here's Latrell Pickett. Palms it down. It's a centering ball now, but Grundy's parked underneath it. Got it to Jordan. Nice shepherd from him on to allow Wicks to run away, but his kick designed for Lloyd missed the mark. Did bounce in front of the boundary line though. So we'll have a throw-in on the chalk of the 50. Swans leading by 36 points. 12 minutes gone in the final term.
Edwards looks so composed and looks way more experienced or older than what he really is, doesn't he? He's looking really, really good down there.
He didn't look necessarily like that last week. He looked a bit rushed and a bit scattered, but second game he's settled in nicely. Fritsch, handball to Laurie, rushes the kick. They might clean bowl them all into the post. Might have nicked Gawn on the way through anyway. Sydney by 35. 13 gone in the fourth.
He's jumped in front of Melican and Hamling, that's for sure.
Oh, definitely. If he keeps going this way, it's another key defender that they've found, which is another local produce.
And in the absence of Tom McCartan, who's been superb for them, that's really handy for the Swans. He's out for 2 to 3 weeks. Mills' kick was dangerous, but McInerney, was still able to mark. Up to the wing for Warner. Gawn underneath it, though. He was in front of Grundy. Took the mark easily. Grundy says sorry. Should have jostled a little bit harder for front position there. So Gawn will send it back inside 50 for the D's. They need a goal quickly. Punched away from the contest by Edwards. McInerney sweeping. Gets it to Lloyd in the left back pocket. Handball over the top. Favours Laurie. Bice puts some pressure on him, though. Bounces the way of Bailey Laurie. And then Latrell Pickett just took that over the boundary line, and the Swans rightfully are saying, well, surely that's insufficient intent. No one laid a tackle on him. Umpires don't agree. We'll have a throw-in just outside 50.
Declan Byrne.
Just on Edwards as well, he had to wait. 44 VFL games. He's sized up the last 12 months. He looks big out there at the moment.
Certainly does. Jumbo Heaney. As Max Gawn steps around his man. Handball back into the mark and suckered forward there by Lloyd, and Papley gathers neatly. Sydney on the logo. Handball for Warner, tackled by Windsor. Nowhere to go for him. So ball up on the logo. Sydney by 35 points. 14 minutes into this final term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Heaney up to 30 touches now. Blakey and McInerney 26. Another free kick to Melbourne. This one's against Rowbottom.
I don't get it. He got handballed out. That's a clear disposal.
With Harry Sharp. He kicked a couple of goals for the D's in that first term. Long ball inside 50. Wicks gets hands to it. Bice dangerously tries to get away from a couple of tacklers. Lost the handle on it. Still inside defensive 50 for Melbourne. The D's pick it up. Here's Latrell Pickett. He should goal from here and does. Well, they're not done with yet. A lot of work to do, but still they hang around. Latrell Pickett has looked dangerous all game with his first of the afternoon, and the margin's back to 29.
They're looking dangerous, but they just can't stop the Swans from scoring, can't they? 88 points. We talked about the games with multiple teams getting over 100, so they're going to get close to that again with high scoring, but it's just stopping them on the other way through. The Swans have just been too good.
But they're sort of only really, Melbourne's rely on both the Picketts to create some scoring opportunities to them. So if that's your sort of attacking game plan, you can't sort of bank it on individual brilliance to try and kick scores for you.
Well, that's the creativity, isn't it? With their ball movement, it's probably just those two that it's down to. Everyone else is pretty safe. And I guess that's why Cozzy gets back into the game and they start to get a bit of a run on, don't they? And they look dangerous, but if he's taken out, it makes things hard for him.
Only a chance of getting his 7th game of the season where both teams score 100 points. Only had 5 in the entirety of last year. Sheldrick from the centre bounce down, gives it off to Papley, who's wheeling around the back, moves it out to Logan McDonald, just forward of the wing. Sydney ball, handball to Roberts. Running by, kicks towards full forward, bouncing ball out the back. 7th heaven for Malcolm Roses. He just pops it through, and he has booted 7.
He can't believe it himself.
When it's your day, it's your day.
It is.
He was on the end of it and just dribbled it home from the goal line. 18-15, 123 plays, 13-10, 88. Sydney by 35.
Someone's got to play on him.
Someone's playing. Charlie Curnow can't get a kick in a stampede, and he's kick coming, rolling, kicking 7. He can't believe it.
Back-to-back 7-fers for the Sydney recruits. Curnow last week against the Bulldogs. And Malcolm Roses.
He still can't believe it.
Against Melbourne. He kicked 5 in the first half. And now 2 in this final term. And that one just spilled all the way to him at the back. The pack was 5 deep.
But how can no one be on him?
Well, it's terrible defending. The defenders come forward to the contest and just let it out the back. So
he's been brilliant. Windsor wins it out of the middle for the D's. They go inside 50 again off the hands of Van Rooyen. Can they respond yet again? They might be able to. Sparrow got it, but then fell over. And the Swans jumped on him. So we'll have a ball up next to the attacking goal square. Swans by 35. Every time it seems the game's over, Melbourne kick one. Can they do it again? Gawn wins the tap. Nice tackle by Van Rooyen on Edwards. And we'll have another ball up inside 50 for Melbourne.
Sydney by 35 again. They've only led by as much as 36. So nearly their biggest lead of the match as Grundy punches it away from the ball up, out of play. Throw in 40 around from the attacking goal for Melbourne. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
I'm just trying to see who the direct matchup is on Rose.
Both rucks miss it. Cozzy Pickett knocks it to Gawn. Rushes a kick to full forward. Bouncing ball. There to clean up Mills, though he's dispossessed. Cozzy takes it and goals. Well, Melbourne is certainly hanging around. 29 points Sydney's lead, 18 minutes into the 4th term, 18-15, 123, plays 14-10, 94.
Well, it's definitely the game of the small forwards. They're kicking a lot of the score. But yeah, this is a pleasing sign for Melbourne, I think. Like, they've come up against probably at the moment the best team in the comp. I'm just talking about just at the moment, and they haven't given up. They've been dominated on most facets of the game, and they just go, "We'll keep going," and that's a pleasing side. And if I was a Melbourne supporter, I'd be very happy for what I'm seeing, even if they don't get the win tonight.
Yeah, they've been up against it for long periods of the game as well. So to kick nearly 100 points, also very impressive.
Ryan O'Keefe and Joel Patfull, your experts on ABC Sport. Swans by 29. They win it in the middle through McInerney. Well done. Whitehall strip though. Strong work at centre half back. So the D's go forward again. Can they kick 2 in a row? They want a free kick here. Is advantage paid to Latrell Pickett? No, it's a free kick against. They'll go the way of Sydney. Sarong will give it a Wicks. We'll run around. And he's happy to chip it wide. 40,673 the crowd here at the SCG. One of the biggest names in the world in Sydney Sweeney. It gave the crowd a nice lift when she flashed up on the big screen. Here's Edwards. To Mills. Why are you giving me that look for, Ben? He goes short to Roberts.
Roberts on the wing. He'll walk past the man on the mark and then kick inside attacking 50. Punched away by Turner towards the boundary line, and a throw-in coming 40 around from the attacking goal. Declan Byrne.
Yeah, that crowd, 46,730. So that is 11th highest ever home and away crowd at the SCG. So this year alone, they've put 2 inside that sort of top dozen. The crowds are turning out in Sydney in 2026.
Swans by 29 points. Grundy bringing it down in game 250. They all fight after it. Grundy goes again as the tackler and get another ball up. Earlier on in the day, Brody Myercheck with a hamstring injury. Malcolm Roses, 5 first-half goals. He's got 7 for the afternoon. Grundy for Heaney. Heaney runs out of room, out of play. Throw in 30 around from the attacking goal here for the Swans. The game in their keeping, 29 points to the good.
Grundy in front of Gawn. Look at them. 2 champions still fighting away. So much pride. Down to Steele. Gets to Tholstrup. High ball. Tries to clear the area. But picked off by Sarong. So we'll go back into attack for Sydney. 22 minutes gone in the last term. Up by 29 points. Just about too much to do for Melbourne now. Gawn's back there. And take the defensive mark. Nice contest by Curnow. Gawn still on the ground. Howes gives it to Pickett. And get the handball away cleanly. So Lever's under pressure. Almost holding the ball. Jaff has it now. Roses is sniffing for his 8th. Amadi gives it to him. Roses is unselfish. Gave it to Sheldrick, who missed. You can see them looking for Roses now. They know that he's got the hot hands.
Well, he's just getting in the right spot. Wherever he is, the ball's landing. But Melbourne have parked all their players in the defensive 50 there, so it's a bit of a scrap.
Aussie Pickett taking the kick in with a long kick up to the wing. A free kick picked out. Some of the numbers, none of the Ds have got big possession numbers. Aussie Pickett with 20 is the equal most with Tolstrup. He's going to have his 21st here, Tolstrup. The kick into the pocket, and Brody Grundy peels off Gawn and marks in the back pocket. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Swans that have more than 20 disposals over the course of the match. Sydney by 5 goals neat. 23 is how far we are into the 4th term.
Grundy 25 disposals as well. Huge.
Yeah, he's been fantastic.
Good luck doing the votes. So many contenders, including, of course, Roses with 7. He'll be hard to pip for the 3. Warner, left up on the wing. No free kick. And look how they just converge, the Swans. Relentless in the tackling. It was Heaney that time on Sparrow.
And what you see with Heaney, particularly, like, he gets tagged every week, but he just works hard and gets to the contest, and eventually he just breaks them down and he gets off the chain.
Ball thrown up. Gawn spiked it, but it's picked off by Curdy. Rampy gives it back to Sheldrick. Now kicks it to half forward. Amadi looking for front position. Knocked away from him by Petty. Warner's there, though. Takes it over the boundary line. 3 goals for Amadi as well. He was dangerous early. McDonald's chimed in late with 3 of his own. Swans leading by 30 points. And we've gone 24 minutes in the final term.
Reminder, still a true Sunday night clash to come later tonight. Send you up to the glitter strip. Aussie Pickett hacks it out of midair, lands on in the lap of his cousin Latrell. Kicking for Van Rooyen. High half forward, takes the mark. Now pokes it inside 50. Oh, Sparrow was just about to complete the mark. Had it knocked out of his hands, and Sydney through Sheldrick to Blakey. Called for a throw. So Cozzy will get the free kick. The mark set 51 out. And the players fold back inside defensive 50 for Sydney. Was it a throw? What did you think?
Hands were too quick, I think.
No, you can see he's actually hit it with a... Yeah, how can that not be a handball?
Cozzy Pickett centres it towards Chath. Chath marks and goes into the middle of the ground where he finds Turner. Likes the look of it from 60. Kicks at 65. That is a thumping kick. Then you can hear what the home fans think of it. Swans by 4 goals. And there is time enough if Melbourne are good enough. 18-16, 124 plays, 15-10, 100. The 7th time this year both teams have scored 100 points.
What about the shoe on this?
He's had a game, hasn't he? He's been on Curnow all day, kept him very quiet. He's been really good in the one-on-ones, and then had his own chance and has just gone bang outside 50.
And he's put that about 15, 20 metres past the goal. It's almost gone 65, 70.
It's gone miles.
What a shoe.
This is what the AFL wanted with the stand rule and the ball ups. They wanted high-scoring games. They're getting it. And that's a goal that caps off a really impressive performance from Daniel Turner, who's been great on Curnow.
Oh, he smoked Curnow.
He's got 15 disposals and now a goal to go with it, the first of his season. So Sydney by 24 points. They've not got the sealed up just yet. Melbourne have hands on the footy once more through Chandler. Handballs it forward. Off Blakey though to Roses with 7 goals to his name. Doing some work in the back half now to Heaney. Has a bounce. The handball forward missed its mark. Heaney's first mistake of the day, it feels like. Now go the D's. Watch out, Sydney. Here's Fritsch. Gets it to Sharp. Well tackled by Roberts. That should be holding the ball. Umpire hasn't blown the whistle somehow. Sydney get it back nevertheless. Here's Cootie with a basketball bounce, two-handed. Gathered it again, got it to Blakey. And there's a free kick there to Blakey. Cosy Pickett held him without it. So things will just cool down a touch. 27 minutes gone. Sydney by 24 points. It'll be a free kick to Wicks, in fact. Take his time and send it long into attack. McDonald with the fly. Gawn there in front of him. Curnow couldn't gather it cleanly. Now Turner gives it to Jath, and Gawn's kick is a sloppy one. Goes straight to Roberts. Now to Cootie. Into the pocket. Lovely kick, Billy Cootie. Curnow's marked it right on the boundary line, out in front of his face. And that was a lovely disposal from the second gamer.
Beautiful play there. The game's got a bit messy now. I think both teams are out on their feet. So there's a lot of unforced errors.
Not sure about that kick from Gawn. Uncharacteristic from him.
He's looked a bit cooked the last couple of minutes, to be honest with you. He might be a bit under the weather, I think, today.
Or sore or something, isn't he? Yes.
Well, this will seal it if Curnow can kick his second, fails to do so. But the point is handy, just about snuffs out any sort of Melbourne threat. 25 points now. 18-17, 125 the Swans. Melbourne 15-10, 100.
I miscounted too. It's 8 times we've had both teams with 100 points, so only 5 for the entirety of last year. Long kick in, driven right into the middle of the ground, and Jefferson juggles it. Gives it off to the run of Sparrow going by. Thumps it inside 50. Van Rooyen juggles it, nearly takes the mark. He'll snap over his shoulder, and he will go. Hang on.
They went a bit early, perhaps.
Yep. Do not go anywhere. 19 points, 5 minutes of game time remaining, and a fast finishing Melbourne.
The kick up the seam from fullback again, like they've done it most kick-outs. Like,
it's been the go-to, hasn't it? They like going through the middle. They've finally got one through, which has worked. But you're right, it's nearly 30 minutes gone, but there's actually still 5 minutes of game time left, so there's still plenty of time. If they can kick another quick one here, the game's on.
Van Rooyen with 2. Hasn't had much of it, but he's kept fighting, kept presenting, made some good contests, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's made a lot of contests, and that's all you want from your key forwards. If you're not marking them, at least bring him to ground and let the ground level players get involved.
I actually think he needs a few more games like today, because he's had rocks or diamonds. 6 goals in round 1. He's had 1 goal and 3 goals, and then 4 times he's been goalless. So sort of the days where it's not your best day, but you kick 1 or 2, that's good.
That was a lovely finish, and they win the clearance again, the D's. Sparrow hammered it forward. Strong tackle by Fritsch. They are fighting on here, Melbourne. Stephen King's Melbourne. They are not going to be scared out of it. Ball up, centre half forward. Gawn palms it down. Sharp gets it to Sparrow. The snap for another one. Doesn't quite bounce with a sharp enough off break. Through for a behind. And the margin is now 18 in favour of Sydney, and there's still time.
Oh, and the kick out has gone out of bounds on the bounce. Luckily, Declan Byrne.
Swans are also down to 1 interchange left, and on the bench for them at the moment, the likes of Papley, Rowbottom and Curnow.
Throwing inside 50 here for the D's. Grundy brings it back boundary side, tracks it out. We'll get another throw in. 3 goals Sydney's lead. 4 minutes and change to play of game time.
Well, I'd probably say those 3 players have had the least amount of impact for the Swans, so it's actually probably not a bad move.
Umpire brings it back in. Gawn flicking it down. Cosy Pickett trying to get there. Knocks it in the end out to a teammate. Langdon snaps it back to full forward. Can they find a mark? They can! Langford, the big-bodied wingman. He marks it full forward. He won't faff about either. trots back, boot the ball from 20 out, comes in now, slams it through. The Demons showing their grit and determination. And this is back to 2 goals. 17-11, 113. Plays 18-17, 125. Just under 4 minutes of game time remaining. They are right in this, the D's.
They definitely are. And he's played mostly in the midfield. So to go down there and take a really good contested mark. That's a great contested mark. He had 2 Swans around him.
He has done this late in games previously. And when it's tight as well, goes forward. He's good over his head and has been able to kick goals. But how impressive of the Demons to hang in there. At times it looked like they could have been losing by 10 goals. So to fight, carry through. It's been off the back of Cozzy Pickett, like we talked about. Just continuing to get that ball going forward and kicking the score.
22 and 2 goals now for Cozzy. And they win it again in the middle. Gawn. High ball now into attack. Melican underneath it. Bice spoiled it away from him. Ball in dispute in the pocket. Edwards happy to take it over. We'll have a boundary throw in right forward pocket for Melbourne.
Maybe that was the plan with Max being rested and coming in the last quarter and go centre bounce, knowing centre bounce clearances are very much key here.
Gawn palms it down to Cozzy Pickett. Keeps it out in front of himself. Jordan trying to apply the clamp on Cozzy. Cozzy keeping his feet. Doesn't take it with him. So Sheldrick squeezes it away from the congested area. Bouncing ball now out to the wing. Gathered by Tholstrup. Here it comes again for the D's. Back inside 50. Over the back of the pack. Under pressure is Lloyd. Gathered it nicely. Got it to Roberts. And now Bice, left back pocket, clears the area. Amati works his way to the front. Petty there with him. Well done by McInerney. He was first on the scene. Now they get it back to Amati, and they've got some space, the Swans. Can McInerney hit a target? He's happy to go back with a cool head and find Bice.
And be wise to just slow it down here, Sydney. And Bice does just that. The boy out of the Ovens and Murray. Kicks around the wing, and that is a shocker. Cold turnover. Howes drops the mark. He just takes them on, though. Knows the equation. Gets it back from Windsor. Now will kick inside 50. In good position, Van Rooyen. Brings it down. Edwards takes them on. Taken high. Oh, he was lucky. It would have been pinged if he wasn't high. 33 and a half minutes into the fourth. Sydney by 2 goals. Edwards kicks up to the wing. Marking contest. Off hands, out of play. Good result for Sydney. 2 minutes of game time remaining.
That's the difference between a key defender and a high attacking defender. Just the smart, long down the line, key, percentage play, not trying to...
Close to the line, easy to get it out.
Not doing what Bice did and try to put it through a car door window.
34 minutes gone in the final term. D's going to get one very, very quickly, but the Swans win the clearance. They've almost turned it over, though. They have. The no-look handball from Bice missed the mark. So Sharp sends it back into attack for Melbourne. Coming back with a flight was Fritsch. But Blakey watched it all the way and fisted it over the boundary line. Another throw in right forward pocket. There is still time for Melbourne. Plenty of it, especially if they can kick one quickly from this throw-in.
35 goals in the game today. Melbourne are hoping there's at least 2 more. Gawn taps it down, knocks it to the goal square. Rushing it through Mills. He's tackled through. Good result for Sydney. 98 seconds of game time remaining, 11 points the difference. Melbourne need 2 goals in a minute and a half.
And they need a man up here. They can't allow Sydney the chip and slow it up. So Blakey goes long. Can Melbourne have the contest at least? They go to Heaney, that's smart. He always finds a way to gain an advantage, and it's over the boundary line, and Sydney are happy with that. They're up by 11 points, but still not out of trouble. Melbourne keeping the Swans camped in their own defensive half. And Gawn and Grundy go at it again. Well done by Grundy. Works Gawn under the football and now puts it out in front of Amati towards attacking 50. Knocks it in front of himself. He was taken down. That'll be a red card in soccer, surely. These win it back. And it is a free kick to Amati. The umpire late on the scene. They had to pay it. And it'll be 50 now, so that's game over. Amati was free. And like a defender in football, he just took him down, and that would have been a professional foul. But Marty will seal the game.
That's the clearance they need to do, not the extra flick around of handballs. Grundy just gets it, surges it forward. But this is a bit harsh to give the 50. The Melbourne players didn't know what the whistle or hear the whistle. 40,000 going off.
The 50 is harsh.
That's very harsh.
But the free kick was there against Turner. And Amadi will slot his fourth and send the Swans back to the top of the AFL ladder. Joel Amadi's 20th goal of the season makes it 4 more points for the Sydney Swans. They are 19-17-131. Melbourne 17-12-114. 7 goals for Malcolm Roses. And now 4 for Joel Amadi. Just that one loss to Hawthorn for Dean Cox's side. And they are out on their own with a big percentage gap as well at the top of the AFL Summit. Level on points with Freo, with 31 more percentage points.
What a game of footy. Good fun. 36 goals over the course of the afternoon.
But even just the scores, look at that, 19-17 like to 17-12. This is huge shots on goal.
All those posters early on. Gawn takes it out of the ruck, thumps it, inside attacking 50. That he's still coming unbelievably. Unable to mark is Jefferson coming out, knocking it out. Roberts throw in and get a free kick for a push, in fact, Roberts. So Sydney with the footy on their back flank. And Roberts will just chip it up towards Warner at left half back. Sydney by 17 points.
Time ticking down now. Warner running away. And sending it up to half forward. And on Brodie Grundy's big day, he's got one over his former side. Sydney by 17 points in a shootout. Roses with 7. Swans back to the top of the ladder. The D's lose nothing from it. They were as gallant as you can be. They kept coming in what is arguably the toughest assignment in the AFL right now. Cozzy Pickett with 22 touches and a couple of goals. Sharp and Gawn with 2 apiece as well. And Van Rooyen with 2. But it was Rose's 7, 4 for Amadi, 3 for McDonald that led the way for the Swans. 17-point winners over the D's.
Another big win for your Swannies here at the SCG.
19-17-131 plays 17-12-114. The goal kickers, Roses with 7, 4 to Amadi, 3 to McDonald, then singles Lloyd, Curnow, McInerney, Papley and Grundy on game or in game 250, and then 2 to Van Rooyen, 2 to Sharp, 2 to Pickett. This is for Melbourne. Windsor, Laurie, Jefferson, Heath, Sparrow, Latrell Pickett and Cade Chandler with singles for Melbourne. Ryan O'Keefe, Joel Patfull, what did we see here today at the SCG?
Oh, I've seen a team that's a finals team, and that's I'm not talking about the Swans, I'm talking about the D's. Oh, that really impressed me. They lost Mychek, who's a big out because it just threw, I think, their structure out. But yeah, they just keep coming. Like you just thought. You never thought Sydney were going to lose that game, but it was just like they never gave up, and that's the impressive thing that as I said, as a supporter or anyone, when you're watching a team, when you compare teams that win and lose and teams that lose, whether they just give up or they keep going, and I was super impressed with the D's.
Yeah, there was times where it looked like they could lose by 10 goals. So halfway through that third quarter, they're 35 points down, and another one or two there the Swans were, and it could have really got ugly, and it kind of felt like it could go that way. The energy dropped off a little bit, and the game started to get away from it. But full credit to Melbourne, they turned that back around and through the middle of the ground that we talked about, and centre clearance and dominated getting the ball forward. So they were definitely impressive. But the Swans as well got the game on their terms, and their run and carry was when they looked dangerous. Plenty of inside 50s, 60 plus inside 50, which helps. So plenty of positive contributions all round. I mean, Heaney was obviously a star. Brodie Grundy in the ruck definitely got the better of that matchup when they had him and Gawn going against each other. So super impressive all round. I think it was the leadership from that Swans backline as well. The backline, the way they structured up and worked together. Mills and Rampy, I thought, was super impressive in the way that they did that. Just probably got them over the line, I think, in the end.
Yeah, Mills is that player too. He's missed a lot of footy over the last couple of years. He's come back. He's rock solid down there. And unbelievable. But yeah, even Edwards coming in as a new player looks good. So when you bring Tom McCartan in, their backs look really, really solid. But
yeah, we didn't talk about him much, but obviously he's a key part of their team and probably one of their best players in the first 7 or 8 weeks. So he was definitely missed today as well.
Yeah. So look, it's they look good, and this is with probably 2 or 3 of their players and forwards, that more senior players that really didn't contribute much, and that's the beauty of a good team when a couple of players are down, other players are step up, and Rosa kicking 7. It's hard not to go past the 3 votes for the day with Rosa really kicking 7, and it was early too when the game was still up and about in that first half. He was just busy and he worked and he was electric and he's putting forward pressure on and everything like that, and that's the beauty of that. Then you get other players that are coming in and they're trying to fight for their position, and that when there's competition for spots, it just raises the level of the whole club.
Well, you're right. Because there were a few of the Swans players that were down. We talked about Curnow a bit, but Papley as well out there didn't really get involved. So a bit of pressure on that small forward role is always good for some of the players coming through as well. So, super impressive all round.
Quite scary to think that Sydney still have Errol Goulden to come back into this midfield.
Oh, no.
When you look at the way that Heaney's operating, McInerney's form, Sheldrick's starting to give them something. I mean, Warner was still able to break the game open at times, and Grundy's brilliance in the ruck, and then Rowbottom just battles away as he always does. I mean, they are so deep in there right now, and that is why. Well, it feels like they're there with Brisbane now as Brodie Grundy gets hoisted up by a couple of teammates in game 250. We'll pause that other conversation.
And Melbourne have waited around to give their former teammate a guard of honour, so he salutes them as he makes his way off the ground, cheered off by Edwards and Amati, and Amati feeling he's back in the wake of it. He's a big man. A little embrace with Max Gawn as well, and then Gawn of the D's turn and make their way off the ground.
So they'll go and sign some autographs, the Swans, before they go in for the song. It feels like it's Sydney and Brisbane now, with a little gap to Hawthorn and Fremantle in terms of premiership favouritism. And then there's a big gap between those 4 sides and the rest as it stands right now in terms of premiership calculations.
I'd say Brisbane, Sydney, Hawthorn. Freo, for me, are playing great footy, but they've got to win out in the road. They've got to win out of Perth more consistently for me to throw them in there. But I'd say Hawthorn, Brisbane and Sydney.
I mean, we're not far off. I think Brisbane's still the team to beat. Like, I think they're above it. I think the Swans' game style, it's fast and exciting. In big games, we talked about this earlier, whether that's going to hold up.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they do have that, the key backline we talked about that can do it. Just the way they're playing at the moment, they're still getting exposed a little bit going the other way. The Melbourne's kicked over 100 points today, and they don't have a super dangerous forward line up there as well. So they've found a way to somehow score 100 against the Swans' defence.
Well, what happens is that they turn the ball over a lot. They play this frenetic pace, the Swans, and they do turn it over. When Brisbane get the ball, they don't give it back to you. So they almost defend in their attack by owning the ball. So that's going to be the litmus test, I think. It'd be great to see. I think it's going to be a Brisbane-Sydney grand final. That's what I think. But it's going to be interesting. Hopefully they fight. Do they play each other? I know they played earlier in the year. Do they play each other again? It'd be just good to see both teams at full flight playing their best footy. Contrasting game styles is how it goes.
They do. They play in round 16 at the Gabba. So that'll be a big one, no doubt about that. With arguably the two best teams in it. There's a lot to like about Melbourne as well, with the fact that they lost Myercheck so early on in the game. When you factor that in, I mean, that impacts their structure. Gawn spends a lot more time forward. If that doesn't happen, how different is the game? We'll never know, but an interesting point. I was really fascinated with what you said earlier on in the day as well, Ryan, about the forward handball game, and I think you jumped in on it as well, Joel. Just whether that is going to hold up in finals, and you have a little bit of a worry about that when the pressure comes and it's a hot game like you get in finals, whether that will hold up.
Yeah, I don't think I hope they prove me wrong. I just don't think it does. I think good teams, as I said, like a Brisbane, Hawthorn got them this year as well, because they get the ball back. They're pretty smart and they use the ball well. You put pressure on them and they cough up, and they turned a lot over here. As I said, Melbourne's kicked a big score against them.
Well, it works when it's one or two handballs. It's when one turns to two, turns to three, and then they start, and that's when it starts to come apart, because that gives time for the defence to come forward and put pressure on. So you've got to limit it to 2 or 3 handballs, and then you get it on the boot.
We made mention of Isaac Heaney being in the conversation for the best player in the competition with Dacos and Bontempelli. I mean, Cozzy Pickett's in that next bracket. Your thoughts on his game today? He finishes with 22 touches, a couple of goals, 10 score involvements. James Jordan ran with him all day. What did you make of that battle and Cozzy's influence?
It was interesting, wasn't it, early? Because Cozzy was probably pretty quiet early, had the 9 touches to half-time, and Jordan looked like he probably had the better of him. But clearly when Cozzy can get his hands on the footy, he's so important to Melbourne, and he was the one that sort of drove it. And even his physical presence around the contest, I thought, was really important to how the energy around the group was, and the way that they kind of played and responded as a team. So, I mean, aside from his ball movement and the way when he got his hands on the footy, his importance around the contest, just creating that energy, I thought was great. But, I mean, Jordan did a pretty good job on it, really. 22, kicked a couple of goals, and for that first half, he was pretty quiet. So, I mean, maybe just got the shot, or maybe Jordan just got the better.
Yeah, look, his game is okay. It was all right, but I don't think he's a match winner yet. He doesn't grab the game by the scruff of the neck and go, come on, you're coming with me, like a Heaney, like a Bontempelli, like a Dacos.
Let's go down into the Victoria Sydney rooms. Declan Byrne.
And it is heaving down here. Kids everywhere for that early slot as the team makes their way in, led by the 250 gamer, Brodie Grundy, a goal, 26 touches in his milestone game. They are appreciative of Brodie Grundy, and Dean Cox leading him in as well. Usually everyone's roped off. They've actually let sort of 25 or 30 people in who appear to be immediate family, and they look like they're going to get in the circle here. So usually everyone roped off. There's still 3/4 of the people roped off, but every player has got their arm around what I'm guessing is a family member.
Yeah,
special moment.
It's family day or something.
Yeah, so they had the dads, didn't they, kicking goals during the week. We've got kids down here in the huddle. This huddle is large. Diameter of 20 metres. So, 23 players out there. Most of them have at least 2. I'm counting maybe 60 plus in this winner's circle. This song is going to be good.
What about Sydney Sweeney? Is she down in there, Declan?
I've been keeping my eye out. Don't worry.
I hope they all know the words.
Here we go.
That is great.
What about, is that Justin McInerney's dad and someone else's dad? They were arm in arm, and it was like it was the end of the night, and they were tired and emotional and singing along to their favourite song. They were loving it.
John Blakey was singing the Sydney song again, of course.
Well, he should know that pretty well. He was there for a long time and part of some successful teams.
I'm not sure I've seen that before in the AFL. No. That was fantastic.
Melbourne were big for a long time. They would go with the second huddle outside of the sort of inner ring, so all of the support staff would form a second huddle. But, I haven't seen all the family members and friends jumping in.
Every club will copy it soon enough.
Let's go back downstairs and join Declan Byrne again.
We've got Malcolm Roses down here. Malcolm, 7 goals. Is that the best game of footy you've ever had? Is that the most fun you've had out there?
Yeah, it was a good game, but I think it was just good to get the win for Guns. It was one of a kind, and full credit to the boys. Played our roles, and we just got the win. I reckon that was the main part.
What's the most amount of goals you've ever kicked in a game of any level?
I can't remember, but probably like 4.
I saw you on the big screen. It looked like you said something like it keeps falling in my lap. Was it one of those days?
Yeah, I was just kind of standing there holding wit. And the big boys kind of getting it to ground. I was standing there by myself, and I was just falling in my lap.
How special was it out there? Because the crowd were going off even when you ran off to the boundary one of those times. They gave you a huge cheer. Is that the most special feeling you've had whilst your time here in Sydney?
Yeah, the crowds definitely plays a big factor in our home games. What we talked about as well is building a fortress here, and want teams to come in and be scared. And I think the crowd plays a big part in that as well. And, it feels good to kind of celebrate with them.
And you're from up in the top end, and we saw so much family here, 60-plus people in the circle. Is anyone down here from your family from the NT?
No, not tonight, today, but I got a lot of family back home watching. It's a bit far, so it's far to travel and everything, so yeah.
I'll throw it upstairs to the team. We've got Ben Cameron, Daniel Garr, Brian O'Keefe and Joel Patfull chatting with Malcolm Roses after his 7 goals.
Thank you.
Hey, mate, how you doing? Mate, congrats on a great game. I've got one question for you. Who was actually playing on you today?
I forgot his name.
You don't need to know his name, don't worry. He needs to know your name.
Malcolm, how have you found moving to the Swans and the club embracing you and all that sort of stuff? Has it been an easy transition for you? Obviously, you're playing some really good footy, but personally, how have you found the move to the Swans?
No, I'm loving it in Sydney. The transition here was pretty easy. The boys are good, the coaches are good, people around the club are even better. So, it was pretty easy.
Malcolm, tell us about this forward line. It seems like every week someone pops up and kicks a bag, and it kind of rotates. Is that how it feels at the moment, that you're all just there to play a role and someone's going to get lucky one week? Talk us through the forward line mentality off the back of that.
Yeah, I think our main mentality as a whole team, I think it's just pressure, building that up, and then kind of getting forward and turning and burning. So we say in our forwards, and our work rate, I think, helps us. And we try to clarity around roles and everything. So and it helps our whole forward line, I think.
Malcolm, go strut around your teammates and let them know that you booted 7 today. So go and enjoy it. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
There is Malcolm Roses after booting 7, 5 in the first half. And it was one of those days for him. Like, I don't know, maybe you guys can speak to it. I haven't had one yet, but what's it like when it all just falls into place for you?
Oh, I wish I played with no one playing on me. It would have been fantastic.
Well, he doesn't even know who was playing on him. So it sums it up, doesn't it?
Look, it's good. You have one of those days and he's cashed in on it. It's good to see, and it's good to see. And I think like Sydney, probably Geelong, even Hawthorn over the years, players coming from other clubs haven't quite found their feet. They've come to these clubs, and I know Sydney are very proud of doing that, and they seem to, really thrive and play their best footy. So, look, it's good to see him come here and really thrive.
Well, you've been in the system. What is it about the Swans that enables them to be able to turn these players into, he's obviously been at Suns for a long period of time, but never seen him play a game like that, and the consistency he's had for the start of the year is next level. So what are they doing down there?
Well, I think it's just there's good role models, and it's not just the play, goes right through up to the president, right through the club. It's we talk about culture, but it's the environment you create, and that's built by the people you have in the building, and I think it's always been a philosophy. You have good people, and when you have good people, you got good environments, and it creates people to be happy and perform at their best. And I just think that when players come into to Sydney, and they've got good role models. He's come in and obviously seen some of the players. Like, he'd walk in and see the absolute professionalism of an Errol Goulden and an Isaac Heaney and go, oh, that's what I want to aspire to be. So that's probably what I think it is. And you look at the good, you'd say Brisbane would be the same, Geelong, that's why they've had this sustained success for long periods of time.
Moving our attention to Melbourne. They lost Brody Myercheck early on, which we've already mentioned in the post-game, but what did you like most about what you saw out of the D's today? Very gallant in defeat.
Just going through their players, like some of these unknown players or not no-name players, just really kept going. Like, Van Rooyen down front, he just competes. He's a big guy. You can see a lot of upside there. I was really impressed with Caleb Windsor. I think he moves really well for a midfielder, and can see him just getting better and better. They're their defenders with Turner and Petty and then Lever. They've got these three key sort of defenders that can rotate, and they were super, super impressive. They need to work on their small defenders. I think that's probably just something that lacks to be able to lock on something, but it's sort of bit their system they're playing. It suits their key defenders, but the small defenders, I said, they didn't really lock down on the dangerous, Rosa but yeah, it just seems that you've mentioned a few times during the call, Joel, that the system, it's a bit unsure, both attack and defence. It's sort of just playing a bit of instinct, but how much can that get you through when you get up to the finals?
Yeah, I think so. Well, it's super impressive the way they hung in there. We went sort of a few times that it looked like they could have been blown out of the water, but to me, it was probably their work through the middle, and especially the centre clearance work that they had that keeps you in the game. If you can keep resetting from centre bounce, get the ball going forward, it gives you a chance to stay in any game. It's when you continually lose that centre bounce that things can start to get ugly. But the centre bounce work was great, and like you said, Windsor through the middle, a few times where he got the tap and broke through the front of the stoppage. That turns the game around straight away. It gets the ball deep inside 50 and gets the game back on your terms.
They look so strong in the middle. Sparrow and Steele in particular. They're just great contest players. They keep going. You obviously got an all-timer in the ruck in Gawn and Pickett with the excitement. The other factor is Petrarca and Oliver eventually departing. So obviously the two of the greatest Melbourne have ever had. But Petrarca didn't want to be there last season. Oliver, that cloud hung over the club for a couple of years. They seem to be freer as a group now that that's gone. They don't miss them as players. Petrarca was second in the best and fairest last season, but it just seems like that cloud hanging over the club has dissipated, and they all seem a little bit freer as a group as a result.
Well, sometimes it just needs to move on. Everyone needs to move on, and probably Petrarca's probably playing, and Oliver are playing probably their best footy over the last 12, 18 months. It was just a good move for everyone, and everyone's a winner out of it. And we spoke during the call, Garbs, that it gives opportunities for players to have a go. Like Sparrow, he's stepped up to the plate, and he's been given some game time in the midfield, and he's thriving. And generally, you unlock some of these players once you give them an opportunity.
Well, they made the big calls, didn't they? So they made the call when they had to. Even Stephen May at the start of the year, they've said, well, he's not going to be a part of this footy team, and they've made that call, which is really hard to do sometimes, because the upside is that he can play a really good season for us if he gets good, but if he's not right for the footy team, he's not right, and that's a really big call to make at that part of the season. So I think they've set the standards from day one, and they seem to be following up with it, and the team seems to be, enjoying it and embracing it.
And the morale factor, when there's people there who are perhaps distracted by other things, surely other players can feel that, and the togetherness factor perhaps dissipates, and they seem to have removed that aspect from things, and they're thriving as a result.
One of the big topics we were talking about coming into today was Brodie Grundy versus Max Gawn. So game 250 for Brodie Grundy, two of the great rucks in the competition. 63 ruck contests they had against one another. Grundy won the hit-outs when they went head-to-head 29-20, but Grundy had a great day around the ground with his performance. 26 disposals, 11 clearances, 15 contested possessions, 4 tackles. He kicked a goal. Max Gawn was a little down on what we'd usually expect from him. 18 disposals he did have, which is not too bad for the ruckman in the end. 7 clearances, 9 contested possessions. But how did we assess the battle?
And Grundy had 48 hit-outs. Grundy was fantastic. I've had him as one of my best players for sure. It just goes, and since he's moved to Sydney, he's been such a good player and so consistent. And he's definitely... He's so important to their team now.
He is. I think they made an error in keeping Gawn out of the ruck for so long. I think that took away from what they did. And Gawn, he came good in the last half. He's kicked 2 goals and he's had, 22 hitouts. He had 9 until the 3/4 time, pretty much. So he was a big reason why they got back into the game. And I think they took away from his impact in the middle by putting him forward for such a long period of time as well.
Let's do the votes very quickly.
Who's got him?
I got him. I wrote it down. So I'm going 1 for Justin McInerney. I said I think he's taken that step into that top echelon of the Swans midfield. His score involves now. I think he is leading the score involvements in the competition. Again, he had a heap, hits the scoreboard. 2, Brodie Grundy. Just spoke about his game, and we have to give 3 to Roses kicking 7. It's hard not to go past that.
Ryan O'Keefe, great job from you over the course of the afternoon.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
A big thank you to you, Joel Patfull, my first time working with you.
Thanks, mate. Been a pleasure.
Garby, always good to come up here and see you as well.
You too, Benny. Thank you. Thanks for being with us.
Declan Byrne downstairs on the boundary and in the rooms doing a fantastic job as always. Tech Peter Clemson as well on fire in the back of the box. A big thank you to you for your company right throughout the afternoon. What a game of footy. In the end, 36 majors kicked over the course of the afternoon. Sydney winners by 17 points, 19-17, 131, plays 17-12, 114. Melbourne led by 2 points at quarter time. Sydney by 22 at the half. It was out to 25 at 3/4 time for Sydney. Melbourne came with the rush, but it wasn't to be. And Sydney won by 17 points. Now, some of you are going back to network. If you would like to keep listening to the football, you can find us on the AFL button on ABC Listen. But for the majority of you, coming up, the Expansion Cup, Gold Coast and the GWS.